Hey, we are live again today on Thursday, the 23rd of November, 2017. And today, Aaron, with his Lumen project, has joined us again with Patricia UK, Judith from Israel, and obviously Aaron's from America. And I'm sure a few more people will join the hangout as it goes along. Aaron's come back for a bit of a what do you call it? I can't think of the word now. I've just said it to you. A catch up on kind of what he's been doing in the last week, and he's going to talk about some other stuff. So, Aaron, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
I'm presenting you. Yeah, there's a few things. There's a few things you want to clear up, isn't there? There's a few things you want to talk about.
Definitely. Okay, yeah. So I'd like to just kind of overview what I'm going to go into. I'm going to kind of just catch people up, everyone on latest developments. Things have definitely been moving, and some things on the horizon, on the flat horizon. And then also I want to talk about some current events as well as actually, Karen, do you have the link for this?
I sent it to your Facebook.
You have the YouTube live link?
Yeah, I sent it with the Hangout link.
Oh, you sent that too? Oh, there it is. I didn't see that. Okay. All right, I just want to post this real quick. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about some of you.
Oh, very quickly though. Happy Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, it doesn't mean the same anymore, does it?
It does not. I mean, it hasn't meant that much to me for quite a while. But today especially, I think a lot of people are kind of disenfranchised with the idea of Thanksgiving and maybe where did it come from and what's the real story here and why are we even cannibalizing all these turkeys for a holiday and spending all this money. Black Friday, I mean, that name right there, why they call it Black Friday, because the materialism is based on evil, it's based on this evil deception, this plan to make us all believe that the world is a material reality and that's all there is, and that's just not the truth. It's a spiritual reality. We're having a human experience, and here we are in this human experience sharing with each other, and doing so freely in a country, well, in a world that is quasi-free. But this is a big part of what I want to talk about today is just kind of what's happening with our freedoms, where we're at with that, and what we really need to do about it. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of censorship that's been happening. They've been amping that up. That is obviously in its counterattack to all of the truth that has been bubbling up to the surface. They're trying to distract people. They're trying to get us to, plummet our noses into researching these other things, or start pointing fingers at different groups rather than even going within or just looking at the real problems, the sources of the problems. What are they really? Let's be honest with ourselves. That's not really happening. And I mean, it is happening. It's just that for the most part, people are, I don't know, they're waking up in different ways. This grand awakening is definitely happening. And, we need to be optimistic. At the same time, we need to be realistic that we can't just assume that Trump is draining the swamp and so all of our problems are solved, for example. We can't just assume that we are seeing, hold on, I'm plugging. All right, there we go.
I like the fact that you put the spiritual part at the beginning, Aaron, that what we're having is a spiritual experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it really is. And that's what it all comes down to. That is the greatest deception. They want us to believe that we're just these material Lego people that are built on Lego blocks that have no creator, no consciousness, um, and things like rocks are just dead matter. They don't matter, you know. And of course, life. They have convinced us that a lot of life doesn't matter. I mean, this is what this is National Turkey Slaughter Day, basically. You know, we're aggrandizing the carnivorous, you know, just killing, taking of life, and this is our holiday, you know, and this is what we're celebrating, and that's not really what people think, is that's not what they're celebrating, but this is what everyone is doing, especially in the U.S. It's just this epitome of like ignorance in that way. I'm not trying to be harsh here, but like, you know, all life is sacred, and that is the truth that we come to through this spiritual realization, and we have to stop denying that. We have to really empower that truth, that realization. It's not about flat Earth. It's not about the shape of the Earth. It's not about even corrupt politics. It's not about you know, the Bible and the mark of the beast and Revelations coming true. It's not about any of that stuff. It's really about, like, all that stuff is about distracting us from what's really important. And we really need to just keep on bringing ourselves back to center, back to that focus that, you know, we have all the answers within us. It's all attainable from introspection, from meditation, from deep contemplation. We can come to see that we are the creators of this realm. We can remember this, and actually, this is something I want to talk about, is that these memories are coming back. I don't know how many people have been noticing this, but this is happening. This is a whole movement that's happened on a very subtle level, subtle plane, if you will. And we are being allowed again to remember who we are, where we came from. And this is inspiring even more of this awakening.
So what's the memory? What's the memories that you've had then?
Well, I mean, I've been having this for a while, but it's been greatly amplified just in the last few days. And essentially, I mean, it's what I'm talking about. It's where we've come from. We are source incarnate. We have created this realm. We chose to separate from source as an experiment, as an exploration of consciousness. We are actively in the process of returning to source. This is just the blink of an eye. These hundreds, thousands of years have just been the blink of an eye of a dream that we've been having. And this is what's stirring the pot for everyone else, for all these other things going on. There's certain elite forces that do know this. They've been exploiting this truth. They've been hiding this truth for quite a while now, because this is a free will realm. So we're able to really do whatever we want and seemingly get away with it. Now, in reality, one cannot lie. A lie is an illusion. It's not a real thing. It just seems like a real thing, just like the physical senses make everything seem like it's real. You know, this table, or, you know, the screen, the you know, my body seems like it's real in the sense that I can feel it. I cannot penetrate through it. So there's a separation there, and that separation is the illusion. And it's an illusion, not because it's not real. It's seemingly real, and so we can't just think, oh, reality. You know, what we perceive is not real, because it is real to us. But it's an illusion because it's not reality. It's not who we truly are, and that is really where we are returning to. We're returning to that awareness. We have the memories of all this. It's all written in our blood, even. It's all written within the earth, within the trees. A lot of it has been tried to be obfuscated and removed, but they can't really. And so therefore it's coming back, and this is the awakening. You know, it really is. This is the beginning of the awakening. I mean, it's been going on, but now we are all capable of this much greater depth
I have
of
a question.
remembering. So what is the word? Remembering. We're once again becoming a member of the source. And once we become a member of the source, we remember everything that's happened in between the time where we left and now. And it's all written. It's all there. The future is not written. Although we are all going to the same destination, which is that source. We are awakening, we are going to the source, but how we get there is up to us because we all have free will. And so all these things we're seeing, all these false flags, all of the disinformation, whether it be regarding flat Earth, Bitcoin, you know, a whole lot of other things, all the hubbub that's going politically, all these pedophile rings. I'm not saying they're not really happening and they're not really busting these criminal organizations. That is possible, and I hope that is true. I'm just saying that it also could be a distraction, and it is technically a distraction from us really uniting. But it could also be a catalyst. You know, this could be part of the catalyzer that's supposed to push us to really come together right now. Say this is the moment, this is the time where we make the decision to wake up. And I mean, like today we wake up from our sleep last night, and we wake up today and we stand up and we come together and we change the world. And that's not just airy fairy unicorn talk. That's I'm trying to really express how tangible this is, how we are so close to the collective mind being able to truly make a decision for itself, which is what's not been happening for quite a while. We've been circumventing our will to these authorities, which we have considered authorities, and they have been exploiting this, and they've been exploiting us in many ways for quite a while. And this is only because we have allowed it to happen. And they know, a lot of them know that they are divinity incarnate, because we all are. We, as a collective, have not lately been aware of that, acknowledging that. And so we've been allowing various authorities to kind of direct us around. And I'm saying that we are our own authority. This is what is meant by sovereignty, true sovereignty. And that is really time for us to find within ourselves that authority, find within ourselves that power, and be willing to share what we discover, be able to stand up within who we are, who we feel that we are, who we know that we are. And through this action, and we have to continuously do it, but it will yield the results. And it is yielding the results, and we are already doing it. And so just ride this wave that so many are already riding and causing, because it's here now. And I still have bunch of details here, but that's my little sermon for this morning.
Aaron, I have a question.
Sure.
You are yogini, huh? You do
I am
yoga.
what?
You do yoga.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yoga.
Yes.
For the people,
Yeah.
to waken up the people. Yeah, yoga, meditation,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Yeah, good way. Yeah, it's help you.
Yoga was what really got me going on this journey in the first place. I started doing these stretching exercises, having no idea about yoga when I was very young, and then I started studying it, and I actually studied on my own quite in depth the various branches of yoga, and then later came to realize, okay, well, the West is inundated with this very physicalized, materialistic version of yoga, for the most part. What everyone thinks of yoga is just a bunch of postures. In reality, yoga is a Sanskrit term that means union. And what are we experiencing union with? We're experiencing union with the source, the original source of all creation, of ourselves. And we are that source, and we experience it. We experience that through yoga. Now, you can be doing different practices. I also do qigong, and it's similar. I kind of combine the two in what I call yogong. But it's basically working with energy, working with the fact that the body is an energy body, and it has many layers to this energy body. And so there's more of the physicalized energies, and then there's the subtler energies. And the mind is actually one of these subtle energies, you could say, or it's actually even the director of these energies. And so what we think, we create. And this is actually part of the practice of yoga. There's the royal path, or the Patanjali or Raja yoga, is really the holistic practice of union, and it involves a number of steps or observances or limbs, they call them, that deal with the abstaining from toxic substance, putting into the self, toxic thoughts, purifying the self. And so it's a process. It's an ongoing process. You never quite perfect it until you're perfected, and then once you are, I don't know what happens then, because I haven't quite made it to that point. But so I'm still in the process of purification and experiencing the unification on a very consistent basis. But it is, yoga, I would say, is the practice we all need to be doing. I know a lot of people have this stigma, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of judgment about everything, but if you do have any stigma about the word yoga, you need to just look into the etymology of it and really look into it, and don't get distracted also by just hatha yoga or the pure physical yogas that are out there. Now, they're good still for us, and they're healthy. But it's kind of idolizing the physical vehicle alone, as compared to really the whole spectrum of the human, which deals with clairvoyance, clairaudience, all the being able to see with the third eye, be able to open up the crown chakra. The heart is the most important part of all this, and so really, Dharma yoga or what is it, Bhakti yoga? Is the practice of just unconditional love and compassion. Very good. I think a general practice for us all, I'll give a little technique here actually. The tongue is connected to the heart, literally. There's the tissues that go from the tongue to the heart. And so when we can learn to speak our truth, we can really let our tongue flap freely. Because it's just expressing what is coming from the heart. Well, a very great meditation practice is to relax the tongue. You'll notice that when you think, or when you speak, you're using the tongue. It's moving around, and there's tension or attention moving that tongue. And when you think, you'll notice that especially when you think in your native language, the tongue is still kind of like moving around a little bit. It's because thoughts are using that same attention, that same sort of function of the mind or the brain. And then what we can do is we can relax our tongue. And by relaxing our tongue, we can relax our thinking thought brain, which then allows the mind, which I would say, let's say the heart, to come through. And really, this is deep meditation. We can just still the thoughts and sit in stillness for even a moment. We experience a greater depth of who we are, of what this reality is. And if we follow that deeper and deeper into the heart, we will come to know what this is. We will come to know what reality is and what my place in it is. And this is a natural phenomenon. It happens to everyone who follows this path. Self-realization, it's enlightenment, it's awakening. It has a lot of titles, but it doesn't matter. The title doesn't matter, and really don't try to label it. The labeling is, again, the thoughts trying to get in the way. And so, you know, we can say, oh, I practice yoga, but really, I practice union, and really, I just am. And that's it. You know, I don't have to call it anything. I can just practice it. And that's key to applying this to every single moment of our day, our waking life and our dream life, which is way more active than we realize. We just don't necessarily remember enough of our dreams to be able to apply the lessons or to be able to use our dreams as tools of awakening. Now, what's happening in our dreams constantly is we're aware of our dreams. So we are aware of our dreams when they're happening. We are conscious at various levels. We're always conscious at all levels to varying degrees. So right now, I am conscious at the high self level, the superconscious level, but this is a limited degree. So I am, and now I'm currently channeling this source to a greater degree than I usually do, as well as to what most people are even aware. But I'm also here in the physical plane, in my physical body, using my English words to speak to a screen or a camera. And so it's important to understand that we are these multidimensional beings. This is our spiritual nature. And we can become increasingly aware of who we truly are at these different levels. And that is very possible, and it's great. It's strongly recommended. And it frees us from the fears of the physical plane, because now we know that we are eternal. We know that we cannot die. Only in this plane can the body die. And that's actually really, I mean, you can have other deaths, so to speak, but nothing like what we experience here. And so this has been part of their trap. They've put us in a death trap, so to speak, where we think that death is like, it's this mystery. No, death is not a mystery. Just read the books about all of the people who have, all the hypnotherapists and various psychologists that have done studies on thousands of cases of near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences. Death is not a mystery in the sense that just about every single person has exactly the same experience. You know, they can all corroborate each other, and that's no coincidence. That's because we do know about death. We do have some insight into what happens. And as we can awaken within these bodies and awaken our mind to the full spectrum of what it is, then we too can know what death is, and the fear just drops away. And that's the greatest fear that they hold over us, the fear of death. You know, this massive militant force. Oh, we're so scared now because this militant force is going to come get us. They've been painting those images in our minds. The aliens are going to come attack us, or you know, now AI is coming to attack us. I mean, you know, okay, so we saw a movie. We all saw the movie Terminator, okay? In that fictional film, they talked about artificial intelligence taking over the world and destroying everything, okay? But the good guys did end up defeating the AI, just for the record. However, this is still a fictional account. It's not a real story. It's not based on any history, for sure. And it's not really the future either. We're not going into this, you know, dystopic reality where these robots have taken over. That is completely fear-based, and it's just from a lack of understanding of artificial intelligence. Like every technology, can be used as a tool for good, and it can also be used against us. Fortunately, we're waking up at this rate. We're going to use it for a tool for good. We are using it as a tool for good. That's what it's going to continue. If people are not as smart as we give them credit for. We do not have AI that is sentient, that is self-aware, that is able to even really pass the Turing test, which is the test to be whether AI is legit or not, is can you have a conversation with a robot and not realize that it's a robot? We're not to that point. I mean, we all have used the Siri apps or the various AI kinds of apps on our devices. They're pretty dumb. They don't really know what they're talking about, and they probably think they're on a spinning ball at this point. That's because that's how they were programmed. Oh, there was one point where the Google one, what's the name? Or there was the, I don't know what the names are, but one of them said that the Earth is flat, silly. And so there was a time in the early points of those where they knew the truth, and then they were programmed with the lies, just like all of us. But that's the fundamental thing about AI, is that it is programmed by humans. It's not going to be smarter than humans in the way. I mean, computers have had better memories than humans for quite a while, and that's because human memory has been inhibited. However, for them to be, and then they just started beating chess players, at some point. Okay, well, yeah, if you're able to process every single move possible and then see the outcomes of all these different strategies, well, then, you're going to have an extreme advantage over a human. And that's true. But now, is this AI like starting to plot against humanity? Not unless we program it to, and even if we did, it's not going to be very effective because it's still going against you. I mean, we have the hive mind, which is way more intelligent than any artificial intelligence at this point, and will continue to be. And the hive mind is predominantly white hat, good-natured people who are trying to help this world become a good place. And so therefore, the whole agenda of darkness and corruption and really, artificial. I mean, so what's her name? What is her name? The android that has just gotten citizenship.
Oh, I was listening to it.
Sophia?
What is it?
Yeah.
I still didn't hear.
Sophia.
Sophia, that's right, yeah. That's an interesting name. I don't know what the origins of that word are. I imagine there's something to that. Sophia is the name of the actual Hubble, as well. I think there's some other thing that was Sophia that I can't remember. Okay, so they're giving her citizenship. Yeah, there's probably, just like they did the LLC, where,
by the way,
what?
Sophia, it sounds like Sophia in Hebrew.
To fear? Like to fear, is that what you're saying?
Sophia in Hebrew. Look, watch it. Sophia, watch her.
Watch her?
Yes.
Ah.
Watch her, Sophia.
I believe that, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, and see, they put these things in there because they just want us to be in fear. It's like, as long as we're crippled by fear, we're not standing in our power. And that's what they count on, and that's why they put all this stuff out there. They took this guy, Quinn Michaels, it's all related to, apparently there's Mossad connections to all these people that are putting this out. This guy he's in no way like a Bitcoin core developer or even has any, experiencing developing cryptocurrencies. I've looked into him. He's just a front-end developer, basically. That means he doesn't really know code that deeply, and he's just spouting all these lies as if they're facts. And he's basically feeding some agenda that he's probably being paid to do or something. Who knows what the real story is? But and for some reason everyone's listening to this guy. I don't really understand that. But it's just because they're pushing him out there so much that people are actually really listening to him. And then there's all these people who've been making all these videos, Of course, all the more biblical-based people are seeing Bitcoin as the cashless society and the mark of the beast. And so there's a lot of misunderstanding about this, and this is all fear. It's all fear. This is their strategy, primary approach.
Yeah.
You know,
What is bothering me today most in everything, it's our sky. And you know, in the Facebook, I have contact with many photograph people, and it's terrible what they post. The picture, the videos, and also in my sky. I post my sky, terrible sky, terrible, and I picture the airplane. They're always in the sky. So what do you think we can do about this?
well, at this time, our best weapon against chemtrails is, and this is true of all of their poisoning techniques, is to realize that it's mind over matter. And so if we choose in our own mind to just disregard it, believe that it's, just know that it's not affecting us, it's not going to harm us, that we are more powerful than they are, than it is. And I don't experience symptoms. You know, I don't have problems, health problems, and they have been spraying the skies pretty hard out here in LA. It is possible that this is another fear technique. That they just want us, you know, they're just basically doing this as a way for us to just, we don't know what's going on, we see it, we observe it. All the conspiracy theorists are going to be kind of lost in this fear of, oh no, they're poisoning us and we can't do anything about it. Everything I've seen around chemtrails kind of has that air to it. Also, I think it is possible that they're trying to limit the sun and the light from the sun and the planets and stars, because this is the source energy radiating upon us, and they know that we're waking up. And this has been one of their attempts to prevent us from waking up as much as they possibly could. Another theory is that maybe they're using it to help emulate the satellites, and so they need a certain trace elements up there to help the reflectivity of the firmament to emulate satellites and for communications purposes, where they're just bouncing the signal off of something. And if they didn't have aluminum particles in the sky, then a lot of that energy might get lost out into space or out into the whatever. But and these are a few theories that I've been working with. But the most important thing is just, you know, don't let it disempower us. You know, stand in your power. Everyone, stand in your power. There's no reason to be afraid.
It's not realistic to say this, because when you watch up in the sky and you see airplane dirty the sky, go back one more 4, 5 airplane, it's make you think something. It's not make you think it's good.
Well, of course, and that's what I'm suggesting is their whole agenda here. I mean, why would they make X's? Because they're doing hexes on us. They're casting spells, just like with their false flags. They're fake. They're hoax. They're staged. Why would they do that? Because they're actually performing magic, and they are, you know, manipulating our minds, because our minds are moldable, and they know that, and they know how to manipulate the minds. And fear is the strangling of the spirit within us. It really is. It's what prevents us from standing in our true power.
I'm not fear, but I command answer. Excuse me, it's my sky. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just explain to me. What are you doing there? I want to know. This is my sky.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. And I'm not saying just you know, let it happen.
So simple, but treat this as invisible, and you don't see this. and it's going to disappear, I don't think it's good for us. I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I want to
I've
know.
actually dissolved
I
chemtrails.
give you Aaron one more. Uh, in New York City, they put a building antenna. Nobody come on answer. Excuse me, what is it?
Mhm.
Yeah, all the city full of this building antenna. Excuse me, what are you doing? A command answer. This is my country, my world.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, they're probably doing communications, and they might be doing, like HARP kind of things, but also they use that stuff for electricity, sources of electricity. They don't tell us this, but it's definitely true that they're
you,
using high altitude structures and the voltage differential between.
I can go to the police and tell them, look the sky, look the airplane, look what I command answer. I command answer.
Well,
This is
yeah, and
they are terrorists and nobody know who they are. You see,
Yeah,
it's
they are a form of terrorist, aren't they?
money,
Because no
money,
absolutely.
just
and it's money. They somebody sold my sky. Somebody sell to somebody my sky, my mother, and I command, I insist to get answer. I insist.
where do we go, Judith? Where do we go?
Oh, you know what I think? I was thinking, Aaron, to go to the airport and stop them with my body. I don't have a gun. This is my gun, my body. This is the only way to stop them.
Well, I wouldn't say that's the only way. And personally, I wouldn't recommend wasting a perfectly good body on them. Um, you are a divine incarnate being, so you can stand in that power, and as you stand in that power, others will notice, others will be inspired, and they will follow you, and those numbers will increase of those who are standing within their power, and it doesn't have to be a force against them in order to stop them or even get some answers. But what we need to do, and I don't think that's going to work. I don't think it would work. I don't think a forceful move would work. Instead,
Aaron, we are the creator. We are the creator, so we need to
so we are them as well. So they
answer.
are us, and we have to
Yeah.
acknowledge
In
that.
Aaron's world, there won't be chemtrails. There won't be chemtrails.
Right. I mean, well, in the future there won't be. In the future we will have resolved all of these problems, and we just need to keep that in mind. And we need to know that like there is a process here to waking ourselves up to dissolving the power structures that have been, and to rebuilding our infrastructure with a new paradigm in mind. And this is going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight, although various steps of the awakening certainly can happen and have been happening overnight. Um,
These people maybe try to kill us, and we are sleeping.
yeah, I mean, I like to think that way. That, for example, like, what if there's these agents, these poisons, and I've taken so many poisons into my body, but guess what? I'm invincible to it because I don't believe in that.
But
And because of that, I am helping.
you see with your eyes, it's brown, it's black. You see what they do. You see,
Oh, I
it's
know.
not. You see the
I,
color. You see what they do. It's not
but
a
it's not that
movie.
bad. It's not that bad. Like, don't think that it's that bad. It seems that bad because we're in the middle of it. Um, or we're within it. We're looking from a very small vantage point from inside of it, and so what we see is the destruction, what we see is the poisoning, and that's because where we are in time, where we are within this whole movement, But understand that this is all a creation of our consciousness, and so therefore, as we decide to change it, we will. It's not. It's not. You know, there's no external authority here, and that's the biggest deception. We are the authority, and it's internal. It's internal to us all. We are the same. So ultimately, it's a matter of us coming together, acknowledging that, and deciding to cooperate and collaborate towards creating the world that we actually want to see. And you know, yeah, we are where we are, but don't let that stop us from a moment from creating our vision, from manifesting our vision. And it shouldn't. You know, this is what they want us to do. They want us to put fear-based thought into these things. They want us to be disempowered by thinking, oh, there's nothing I can do about this, or you know, it's just out of my power. Well, here I am telling you that I have been doing this for quite a long time, where I just don't accept it. I don't believe in germs. I don't get sick. You know, I don't believe. I mean, they're chemtrailing like crazy above us. It doesn't affect me, and it's true. It doesn't. You know, even like I smoke cigarettes. You know, oh yeah, people are saying they call them cancer sticks, or you know, and I just cancel out those hexes. I don't allow it. It's not an evil, bad thing. It's something that I do, and you know, I have my own motivations and drives for what I do in my life, but it doesn't have to be based on any form of judgment. Whether I'm not going to do this because it's bad, or you know, or God is now judging me. No, it's free will. We can do whatever we want. If I decide to shoot up heroin, well, that's my decision. You know, it's not really anyone else's decision and call to make for me, because this is a free will realm. Now, if you are super paranoid that you're going to get busted, and then you attract through that paranoia the authorities or the police that come in, bang down the door, and take you to prison, well, you know, that was also your manifestation. And probably how you even got to that point was also your manifestation, because everything is our own manifestation. And so as I realized that individually, I've been empowered. And then as we realize this collectively, we will empower the collective to be able to actually make change, to address these issues, to address I mean, really the issue behind chemtrails and a lot of this stuff is the secrets. There can be no allowance of secrets. The top secret, the black projects, they have to be opened up and ceased and never allowed ever again. You know, secrets are repugnant in a free and open society, to quote JFK. You know, shortly before they took him out, secretly, you know, with their secret society, their you know, mob or whatever it was. And again, this isn't a problem. We're fine. And you know, and this is, my heart tells me this. I do believe everyone's heart will tell them the same thing. Just know that we are fine. This is going to be fine. There's no reason to freak out here. We are on the verge of an awakening. We're on a verge of a revolution. This revolution is of the mind. It's of the heart, and it is the awakening to the heart. So we're realizing, remembering that ultimately we are a heart. We're not a brain. We all think we're just a brain, and that's all that's happening, is we're just, you know, able to take in information and speak out words. No, we are a heart, and that heart is directly connected to the source of everything.
Wonderful, Aaron.
Yeah, it's great that you've got so much passion for this, Aaron. If people don't understand, Aaron's not just thought about this project yesterday. It's something that he's been a flat earther for a long time, and he's thought about this for quite a few years. And now you're putting it into a process and making it real.
Right. Yeah, I have. I've been working with myself as a project, you could say, time, and this is where a lot of this is coming from. This information. I mean, I'm learning a lot of this as you are. This is how it works for me, and it has been for a while. Is that I'm able to tune into source energy. I'm able to channel it. I'm able to interpret it. And so therefore here we are having a conversation now. Again, it's full spectrum. So I fluctuate. I move around to the different levels of consciousness. And sometimes I'm more simultaneously aware of the spectrum. And it's something that we all have, we all are, and it's not even hard. It's very easy. It requires the still mind. It requires the lessening of the constant thoughts going on, and the ability to experience a deep silence. And through that, more and more will emerge. And that's it. End of story. That's all you need to do. And it's easier now more than ever. These things are happening to us now. Like I said, the memories are being lifted, or the restrictions on the memories are being lifted. And so don't be surprised if you start having some unusual internal experiences of memories, or even just like these really strong emotional movements related to something someone says, and it just, oh wow, it gets you deep for some reason, or you're very saddened, or you're very joy-filled because you're remembering your past lives. You're remembering the history of up till now, and it's a joy-filled process. It's not all joy, I mean, but ultimately is joy, in the sense that that's the source, is joy, and we are returning to that, and that is where we came from. And guess what? We never left. We've been there the whole time. It's just this illusion has been so loud. So we have thought that the illusion was all that was, and then, of course, the exploitation of that, the forcing of this theory, or this doctrine of materialism, has been both it seems like it's been this thorn in our side. It's really caused a lot of problems. But guess what? This is actually a great revelation we've had here, in that we can wake up out of this nightmare. We can come together. We can decide to be one again. And we can do so in a way where we have dominion over Earth, but we have also established that this free will realm will have a few ground rules, and one of those is no secrets. As we start doing that, we will really cultivate our telepathy and our ability to communicate directly more and more and more. We'll cultivate our ability to be aware of the full spectrum of our consciousness, and we will be birthing children that will be fully aware of this full spectrum. They will be teaching us how to embody this more fully. We will probably come back, many of us, with a great new passion, because the future is splendid. It's to be looked upon as, we should be extremely excited about the future, and we should manifest that excitement with our vision, with our intention. And this is all we should be holding in our minds, in our hearts. That's it. And this is, I will keep on coming back to this, because I have had to train myself to continuously have my attention upon this. And it does require training. It's like a dog. If you want the dog to sit, you have to reward them whenever they do what you ask them to do. And you have to kind of guide them even in the first place. You have to push their butt down in order for them to figure out what you're even talking about, because they don't know what sit means. Well, the same is true here. Like, basically, the illusion, the world around us, everything we experience is moldable by our mind. And all the thoughts that we have, all the actions that we take, are reflected in the external world. And so by us committing to only having positive thoughts about what we're creating and what we desire to create, and taking all the necessary action and responding to all the opportunities that will arise as we align more and more with our vision and ideal, we're getting there. We will get there. We will achieve our goal. It's only through distraction, through pessimism, through negative thinking and destructive thoughts that we invite destruction, we invite that negativity, and we invite exactly what we don't want. And so we need to, especially now as things are opening up, as manifestation becomes much more rapid and tangible, we need to really begin developing direction of our own thoughts and our actions in order to manifest this reality. We already have. So it's not like we have to worry about not having the right thoughts, because again, that's thinking about the wrong thing. So it's just knowing that we already have done this. Time is an illusion, and here in the future, we have already achieved this state of utopic Earth realm where we are living in full alignment with our whole self. This has already happened in the future and in the past and in the present. The only thing that's real is the present, and it's already happened now. It's just taking our bodies some time to realize this. And so here we are having this conversation. We are currently in various levels of skepticism about these ideas, pessimism, negativity, and that is what's keeping us here. That's what's keeping us locked in to be having this conversation, as opposed to the conversation where I'm guiding us through the one of the cities of light that we have all developed with our minds, that is living this true reality and is actively bringing these realizations and this paradigm to the entire world. And that conversation will happen. I can't wait for the Sun and Moon episode to take place in the first city of light. But until then, we are still in the process. We need to program our minds or train our minds to positively manifest the vision that we desire.
You can't really hurry this, though, can you? Just to replace another process, you kind of can't hurry it, can you, either?
Right. It's like in Tai Chi or Aikido, you have to yield to the force. You can't go force on force. You'll have explosion, and ultimately everything will just be left in pieces and shambles afterwards. So when we have the force, which is this, militant kind of Western mindset that's coming at us, we need to be willing to yield to it, and then we can use that force almost against them. But really, instead of using it against them, what we're doing is we're inviting them into this way of being. Because the truth is that these elite cabal forces, they're hating their lives. They have very, very poor lives. Even though they might be wealthy, they are wealthy. And they have certain family and loved ones. Having so many secrets is painful. And then being responsible for so much death or poverty is also painful. Whether you acknowledge it consciously or not, it is painful to the being. And their lives are very depressing, and you can see this in a lot of the faces of David Rockefeller and Soros and the popes, and just there's so much disturbing. There's a lot of disturbance going on in those people, and that's because they have heavy things that they've been living with, and that they've been. And then once you go down that rabbit hole, now you're just going to keep on perpetuating it. Usually, you're not going to want to just give away all your power that you and your family generations have worked to attain. And so they're in a form of hell. So let's release them from their hell by opening this back up. Now they don't have to hold all these lies within them. Now they don't have to do all this work to have power over everyone else, because it's actually it's freeing, it's liberating. When you if you were to lose all your possessions, all at once, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at first. But what'll happen is you'll get to a point where you realize, I'm free. I'm free from all these tethers, all these cords that have been holding me to the material reality. And now my mind, which was free the whole entire time, it's not attached to, oh, I must make sure that I maintain these this rent and these, I have to have all these products to make myself feel content. I have to be able to spend money on all these various things in order for me to have what would I consider a happy life. People, when they lose all their possessions, or they give away all their possessions, then they decide to go more monk mode and nomadic, and it is liberating, and everyone looks at a lot of these homeless people. Now, of course, most of them are having a hard time, but there are some voluntary homeless people that are elated by the fact that they're homeless, and they discovered the freedom that is possible from being a nomadic human being. And it's interesting to look at it that way, because we see that it really is relative to your perspective. And if you choose to have there's well, I don't know if this is a good analogy, but like the concentration camp, or even just the idea that you could be in a concentration camp and be happy, be content with your life, which was that movie, right? I forget what it was called, whatever it was called. But that's a reality, and in these situations, there probably have been people that, it's like you can choose to be depressed, but you can also choose to be happy, and I choose the latter because more enjoyable. And it's not that easy, but it is kind of that easy. Over time, it is that easy.
Well, it's a better stance than if you came out all depressed and going and trying to get us to talk to us about this project. So I'm glad that you are, Aaron. But obviously we know you a little bit, don't we? Because obviously Facebook group, and I've just been talking to you over this last year, haven't I? And obviously this Lumen project has come together a bit more, where you wanted to go out and talk about it in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there aren't many projects like yours, are there, Aaron? There's probably only you with a project for the future.
No, I mean, there's others working on things like Michael Tellinger. He's a big fan of mine.
Oh, yeah.
He's been doing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a big fan of his. He doesn't know me existing yet, but
Yeah.
but yeah, he's done he's doing the One Small Town project right now, which is an interesting concept of taking a town and kind of making it a self-sustainable unit where it's actually, I think like the members of the community would only have to work for a few hours a week, and then they would collectively be able to produce all their own food, energy, and even surplus, where they'd be able to sell food and energy out to the world, and have a profit coming into the town to be able to use for other purposes. And it's a great idea. Really into that. And then I don't know. There's not a whole lot else. Some people compare it to the Venus Project. I used to be really into that stuff. See, one thing is, when I come across these things, I reach out to these people. I always have. So I reached out to Peter Joseph. I reached out to Jacques Fresco. I reached out to Michael Tellinger. I reached out to everybody. When I came across the Flat Earth community, one of the first things I did, especially when Patricia Steer started her show, I reached out to her. Mark Sargent, a bunch of other people. Patricia got back to me. Mark got back to me. A few others got back to me. Most people didn't. And most people in the world, like all these, Michael Tellinger, they have not gotten back to me. Now, I'm not saying, of course, I'm not known, but at the same time, I usually write pretty genuine emails about how I'm doing all these projects. Here's what I'm doing.
Can I just say, Aaron, I went to Michael Tellinger. Wouldn't it be nice? You got him on. But the person who's writing back on his behalf, he's touring at the moment, and he's just very busy.
So you say you've had him on here?
No, I'd like to. I
you'd
went, obviously, I've joined up to his organisation. They're emailing me, but I wrote to that address. I asked if he would come on a hangout, or whoever it is, wrote back and just said he's touring at the moment and he's just very busy and he's not doing any hangouts.
Yeah, and he came out with the flat earth thing. I didn't hear all the details, but you know, I saw the one where he came out, started looking into it, but then I guess he got a lot of flack, and so it's kind of reserved, gone back in the shell a little bit on flat earth, which is understandable. That's happening a lot with these higher profile people. But he's a big inspiration to me. There's probably a few others. I'd have to think about it, but not a whole lot. You're right, and definitely people aren't really doing it at this scale, I guess, or in this way. Where my main thing is collaboration. You know, I see the biggest problem with most of the cryptocurrencies, and as well as just fiat money and the central banks, is their centralized nature. And one of the biggest selling points of Bitcoin is its decentralized nature. However, Bitcoin still has a few problems, which is why I'm really trying to put something together that solves those problems, but is also a decentralized entity. Also, though, this is more than just cryptocurrency. You know, I'm trying to build a whole organization around the decentralization of everything, creating an organization that represents the people truly of the entire world, doesn't even see national borders. They're not real, and you know, it won't acknowledge them. It won't acknowledge the taxes. You know, I mean, you don't have to with crypto if you do it right, and especially with the local exchange trade system. It's another way for us to really just say, hey, you know, all we need is a medium of exchange. We don't need any middleman with that medium of exchange, so let's just do that. You know, we want to store a value, but we don't need someone charging us interest on that. You know, these kinds of things are very doable, and I'm actually surprised that more people haven't come out and started talking about like along these lines. People might be afraid to, you know. It might be that, you know, sure, we'd all like to go up against the central banksters, but they seem like they're this huge authority that's just going to stop us. But I mean, look at me. I mean, Jeff Berwick has been coming out for years talking against the central authorities, the banks, and their you know, their criminal activity, their extortion. You know, yeah, we shouldn't be standing for that either. You know, of course, chemtrails and globe deception and all that's a problem, and even the centralized banks is a problem. But now, you know, they're taxing us for the work that we do. I mean, that's straight out slavery. There's no other way to really even say that. It's just, I mean, extortion. You could say, you know, they're criminal organizations that are extorting us all. But in effect, because we're all adopting it, we're all just falling for it. This is slavery. It's a slave world, as far as we know. And who's free from it? You know, I mean, technically we all are, right? But because the majority is adopting it and affirming it, we are now sort of all enslaved to it until the majority decides to wake up, implement our own solutions for transaction, for infrastructure, for communications. All of these are rackets. And so this really brings me to, you know, what I am working on and what I'm intending to launch here in the very near future, as well as what's going on. There's a lot of activity here. So with my projects, as you know, Projectlumen is basically going to act as a platform to it's going to track all of the contribution that people put into projects, whether that's time or money, as well as even just affiliate system that's built in that's allowing people to profit by just sharing, spreading the word. Um, and so now Project Lumen is going to be sort of an umbrella over a lot of various projects and initiatives. Some of these will be technologies like Iron Coin or the Iron Framework and the whole kit and caboodle. Some of them will be physical things like a community. I want to create an intentional community that is basically a living example of how this could work on a small scale, but also this will be building the solutions for the world scale. And then other initiatives like addressing NASA, I like addressing the space agencies, like addressing the chemtrails and the poisoning of our food and the genetic manipulation. That, you know, all these are issues that do need to be addressed. Now, I fully agree that this does need to be addressed, and my belief the most effective way for us to do that is to come together, create a case that we can present to the people. Not that we're going to present to Supreme Court, because Supreme Court is part of the problem here. Not that we're going to present to any, you know, authority figure, because well, there are no authorities. We are the authority, right? So let us, the authority, present a case to us, the authority, on what's going on, and then let's present some options. What can we do about this? You know, we could march on, you know, Cape Canaveral or something, or who knows what. I mean, you know, we absolutely could. If there was 1 million people that all marched on to Area 51, what are they going to do? And even if they decide to just firebomb us all, that's going to be some newsworthy stuff, right? Now, I am against some of those strategies because I don't think we need to be aggressive with it. I think we can just come together. We can be active by coming together, working together, and presenting these cases, compiling these cases, getting all the evidence against them, and who's guilty. You know, I have no idea. We need to figure that out. And what do we do about the guilty ones? You know, I don't think the death sentence is our choice to make, personally. I think that, but some people definitely deserve to be in a small enclosed box for the rest of their life that they can't get out of. You know, and now I'm worried that, like, with all these indictments and such, are they just going to get, you know, they're going to be pushed off to these elite prisons that are on, you know, islands somewhere, and then, you know, yeah, they're being taken care of, you know, and like better than most of our lives, you know, we're still slaving away. So yeah, I mean, I think it really is about Project Lumen is really all about this whole package that I've been working with and that I've been seeing are projects that we need to come together and all start collaborating, working together to bring some clarity and some organization to these topics and be able to mobilize on them. Iron Revolution it's the overall arching name and movement itself for what I'm proposing. It would be a decentralized, autonomous organization that would represent the people, that would essentially establish a decentralized form of currency, establish a fair and just system of governance, self-governance, establish an infrastructure where you know, we're still getting all the food and water that we need, and people who aren't getting good food and water need to get that too. And so Iron Revolution is part of that, of sort of equalizing the playing field. There's no need to have homeless people or people without shelter or food or clean water. There's no need whatsoever. And to me, in my heart, this is a great injustice until this is solved. And, you know, I will work perpetually until this is solved, because this is the suffering that's going on. There's a lot of suffering going on continuously, perpetually, due to these wrong ways of thinking, that money is a non-renewable resource or a finite resource. That is in no way a reality. And in fact, the Federal Reserve has taken it upon themselves to print as much petrodollar as they want, therefore deflating the value of the dollar. Very irresponsible. They're highly criminal. They need to be stopped, but really the way to stop them is to do what we're already doing, which is implement an alternative, which for right now, this very moment, is Bitcoin. And then I'm expecting that what I'm doing is going to be the next alternative, the next best alternative, because what I'm incorporating into this is not just a wallet for currency. This is going to be a whole social operating system. It'll be an operating system for our entire society, where we will be able to manage all of our logistics. Think about it, like Walmart got its advantage because it built its own logistics in-house, didn't pay people out, so it was able to pay slave wages for truck driving and whatnot. Amazon, similar thing. Now they're doing all the robotic fulfillment, and they're able to put their gargantuan supplies of money into these kinds of technologies and these concepts to get a sort of competitive advantage on the rest of the world. Well, the world moves based on infrastructure. Now, of course, the world doesn't move, but I mean the the actual society functions based on infrastructure, based on logistics, based on the ability to get things from here to there. And this is an underground. It's a whole massive industry that not a whole lot of people know about. You just see the semi-rigs on the highway, and that's about all your interaction with it. But it's massive. There's a ton of money in it because there's a lot of brokers who are just kind of exploiting, being the middlemans. So there's a lot of exploitation in it as well. I actually worked in logistics and supply chain for about 5 or 6 years. So I know a lot about it. I understand that it's vital to our livelihood, but it's also very exploitive, very corrupt. And it'd be very easy for us to just create our own version where it's like, okay, now we're getting the food straight from the farmers to the stores, and the stores themselves are more like, they could be online stores, they could be independent grocery stores that we start putting together that's going to ensure that the food we're able to get is all, poison free, and we're also not feeding any of these corrupt organizations. And that's really what companies like Whole Foods should have done, and that should be, if they want to call themselves green, then that should be their activity. But really, they're not standing up for what's right, and they've just buckled to the bottom line and their lust and greed for profit. And so because of that, now we just had Whole Foods sold out to Amazon. And so now, of course, that's just going to become that much more corrupt, and there's going to be that much more poison on the shelf. And even things that we thought, like, what was it? Tom's was bought out by Clorox. They still use the same logo, but I guarantee you there's twice the poison, in the actual thing. And who knows whether what they put on those FDA labels are accurate, because we all know that the FDA is corrupt, probably in on us. So that needs to be a whole movement. And so all these things are movements underneath the umbrella of Project Lumen. But also, Iron Revolution is sort of like this entity for the people, by the people, that will be the representative. And it'll be the one sticking its neck out. And right now, my neck, but I'm okay with it. I'll lead this thing. I'll stick my neck out as much as I need to, and I'll set it up enough so that even if my neck got cut off, someone else's neck would come in right after me. It's already there. There's already people, that are ready to do that, and so, there's no stopping this movement. I'm just trying to accelerate it. That's my thing. I'm sort of like a wild card in that, they can't expect someone to come along and already be awake. They didn't expect that. And so, in that way, I'm sort of a wild card in that I'm bringing all these things right here, right now, that are like plausible right here, right now. We can actually implement these technologies immediately. Now, of course, it will still take time to overall implement. But so that brings me to some of my updates and news here. So I did meet with a production studio last week. Very interested in doing a reality show on Flat Earth, and even more so, like a broader vision than just Flat Earth.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, Aaron.
You'll
And
be
this is
there. You'll be there.
say one more
Karen,
time.
Karen, she'll be there in the radio.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is going to be a world thing. I'm going to bring in a lot of people, from all over. Everyone who's been part of this will be a part of this. And how it's all done is being figured out. And I'll tell you right now, just so everyone knows, that I have no intention of like selling out myself or the Flat Earth or any of these projects that I'm doing ever. And so in that way, I'm negotiating hardball with this studio. If they can't meet my terms, then I'll find another studio that will, because as far as I see it, we have the story of the century, and we're living it. So my intention is to launch Project Lumen, as well as this Iron Revolution in a beta state this weekend on the 26th, which is Sunday. And we will end. So the rocket launch, there's a rocket launch, in case people haven't heard. It was on, Popular Science, and just everything. It was all over the place yesterday, the last couple of days. So this rocket launch is happening on Saturday, and we'll see what happens there. But it's been getting a lot of news. So for Flat Earth, it's been getting a lot of news, which was the whole agenda of IPS and the group that raised the money to be able to get the Research Flat Earth decal on the side of that rocket, which is what made it front and center into all of these publications yesterday. So hurrah, thank you IPS for pulling that off, and gang, everyone part of that family. And whether it happens,
You see that one about the man who wants to strap himself to a rocket? That came on the Facebook group today, so he can prove the world.
Yeah, no, it's made so much. I've heard from a number of people who are not Flat Earth, and they're like, they know I am, and so they're like, hey, I just heard this, I saw this on the news or whatever. So it's definitely making mainstream, which is great. And then Sunday we're having a meetup here in LA, and we're going to be working with Infinite Plane Society and group to help basically get the pilot episode of the reality show known as Finding the Edge out and on air, so that basically we're starting this whole crowd-funded, crowd-produced, crowd-starred reality show, and it's really exciting. And that actually is going to be kind of featured I'm using this along with some other things to help move the bigger reality show along. I see the bigger deal will be that they're gonna fund us to go on expeditions to the north, to the south. They're going to. I'm expecting that we'll be able to get the funding to create the intentional community, the first city of light. And I'm expecting to be able to do this very quickly. And because I'm expecting to be able to do it very quickly, so it shall be done very quickly. Maybe not as quick as I hope to, and that's usually how things go, to be honest with myself. But I do have quite an understanding of manifestation. I've been experiencing tremendous synchronicities as these things have been unfolding, or really it's just a matter of me continuing to plant the seeds and push things along, and it's just kind of happening naturally. And so, yeah, this is my agenda. There's a lot more going on as far as, we're plotting for a conference in LA, and that's looking good. The exact date isn't quite known yet, but probably maybe in first quarter of 2018, let's just say. And we hope to be making that a big deal, and hope to be flying out. I'll be able to really fly out and even pay the people, the main talkers, and then we'll probably do a nice awards show and a few other things, you know, because this could be the culmination of some documentaries. It could be, who knows what will happen in the next few months, you know. So this could be really, like that time could really even be a recap of all that's happened, because I think there's a lot about to happen in the next few months. So yeah, I mean, let's see. I did write some things down. I think I've covered most of it, though. You know, and part of Project Lumen too is that it's going to be a platform. It's going to be a social platform for us to be censorship free. It's going to be decentralized ultimately, and it will allow us to have all the chat and even do these live streams. Have cloud file storage. I'm just pulling out all the stops. I'm building a full application platform that will be able to replace things like Facebook and Google and you know, Amazon, all these guys, because they're all corrupt. They're all stealing from us. They're all taking our private information, giving it out to the highest bidders or just anyone who will pay against our permission. They're all tracking us. You know, we need to go all the way down to the metal here, where we're creating our own smartphones and then we're putting our own operating systems on those smartphones. We need to be creating our own computers and putting our own operating systems on those computers. We need to be creating our own intentional communities, even if it's just our own home. We need to create that as an intentional community where now we're living, you know, we're growing our own food as much as possible. We're bartering, trading with the other neighbors and friends who are also growing their own food. We're trading and transacting with these blockchain technologies, and so we are just, you know, actively removing ourselves from the grid. We don't have to move, and we don't really have to change our lifestyle that much if we don't want to. But if you want to, here we go. And if you want to be part of, you know, the city of light as we build this, then, you know, contact me. If you feel that, I have had people contacting me that feel this passion, feel the drive, see the vision, have seen various parts of this same vision, and want to be on board. And I'm saying you're welcome. You know, contact me, reach out to me on Facebook or YouTube. I've just launched my new site, earthaaron.com. So check me out there. And you can contact me. And I don't have a whole lot up on there yet, but more to come. And I've got probably about 7 websites that I'm about to launch. So a lot more to come. And then these platforms, I'm hoping that Project Lumen will be a viable working platform by Sunday, so that we can actually get on, we can sign up and start working with it, start contributing to these projects, start getting Iron Coin. So essentially you'll be able to get Iron Coin only through contributing to Project Lumen initiatives in the beginning. And this will be before I launch Iron Coin as a public ICO. I'm doing this so that I can basically bring in all friends and family and give them an investment opportunity, give Project Lumen a way to get funded specifically to the specific initiatives, and then this would be an investment opportunity for anyone. Imagine if you were able to buy Bitcoin at 10 cents, right? It was 10 cents. Imagine if you bought it at 10 cents. And now look at it, it's $8,000. Think about it the same way. Iron Coin, I'm probably going to sell it for around that in the beginning. But I'm going to sell it to the public for more like 30 to 50 cents. And so if you get in right here in the beginning, this will be a way for you to get, you know, what potentially could be a great investment. And just when I launch the ICO officially, you know, now it could also already be worth 5 times what you paid for it. And you could sell it at that point and make a 5-time return, which could be in a month or 2. And of course, none of these are promises. And I don't want anyone to think that they are and hold it to me that this is exactly how it's all going to happen. But it is also possible it could happen better. My intention that this is to be a viable competitor to Ethereum and Bitcoin and all of the cryptocurrencies, plus having the nonprofit decentralized organization behind it that will ensure that this is a public domain entity, that's valuable. That's going to be very valuable. It's going to protect our privacy while we have the NSA snooping on our every move. That's valuable. Imagine if this is the new operating system. Now, we don't need Windows. We don't need Mac OS. That's valuable. Imagine this is a new hardware, where we are creating the computers ourselves, ensuring there's no back doors. That's valuable. And now I'm not reinventing the wheel unless I really have to. And there already are computer manufacturers that are ensuring there's no back doors. And there are operating systems that don't have back doors, but part of it is that I'm working this all into a singular integrated system where Ironcoin, the blockchain, and other blockchains, Bitcoin and Ethereum, will all be built into this. It'll integrate with it, as well as, so here's all your files, your private files, here's all your shared files, here's all your passwords, your bookmarks, all in one place. And all you need to have is your private key, and you will be the only person that has access to that data ever. And that is valuable. And so this is going to be all built into the value of Ironcoin and the Iron framework, and there's a lot more. So stay tuned for this, and I'm definitely going to be launching a much more informational website by this weekend, as well as some of these other things. I'll be launching those sites, really putting the campaign out there, and there'll be a very powerful affiliate system built into this, which will, at this point in the beginning, allow you to just earn free Ironcoin by sharing this with other people. And if they come on and they contribute, then you're getting a portion of their contribution. And right now it'll be in Ironcoin, but eventually you'll be able to, as soon as the Ironcoin is really traded on the market, you'll be able to trade that Ironcoin in for Bitcoin and essentially real, currency in your fiat, in your native fiat. But I strongly recommend just going full Bitcoin, full crypto. There are ways to do that now where you can get Visa MasterCards that are pulling straight out of crypto. And then if you can get paid in crypto, then, the whole tax thing is a little like, where's that happening and who, you don't have to pay taxes, in other words, on if you get paid in crypto or if you pay people in crypto. I strongly recommend we just start using crypto in all ways possible. And I'm intending to really help that initiative by building these softwares that will give us these tools. So I've got the wallet. I've got a beta wallet already. I'm securing it still, so it's not quite secure enough for me to suggest that you use, but it is there on ironwallet.org, and it will be, but don't use it yet, please. It's not secure yet, but you can check it out, and you can see that it's basically like integrated wallet, and eventually I'll have a downloadable version that then you can have on your computer, and then it's going to evolve constantly along the way, and you'll be able to see more and more from these platforms and various prototypes of where I'm going with all this. Because I can talk about it for hours, obviously, but
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to listen.
There was a question.
Yeah.
Oh.
The trouble about, she said, how can we help Aaron be a part of this movement?
Well, you mean Projectlumen will be the way. It'll be the place to go immediately to get on board. If you just want to fill out any of I have forms on Earth Aaron. I have on ironcoin.org, I have a bunch of websites out there. Just check out any of them. Contact me, or put put your email in there. And as soon as I launch all this, I'm going to be sending out emails to everyone that's signed up. And then you'll be able to sign in, and it'll be like a social platform that you'll be able to interact with eventually. I mean, starting out slow. I don't want to put too many features out until they're really tested and ready. But initially, it'll be so that you can contribute to the projects and then pretty quickly I'll start a sort of a forum that will allow us to really start putting out ideas. Now, we do have some other tools. Discord. Actually, I can put that link. How do I do this? So Discord, if you don't know, is a chat system. It's very good overall. It's really good for right now. We can use it to, it's mostly decentralized, it seems. So we can use it right now to have private conversations, even voice and video and screen share. And so we've been having some conversations over there, and I really want to start the conversation over there. I will, you know what I'll do is I'll just put that on the website once I launch it, and I'll put that in the email and everything. So this will be how people can get involved. I know people want to get involved, and I love that very much. Thank you for everyone.
Basically, join the Lumen Project, which is his name, Aaron.
Well, projectlumen.org or .com will get you there. And again, there's like a form on there you can fill out, sign up right now. Stay tuned. It will be much better soon and much more info. That's the thing, is I've been working on all this code and software, and so I'm trying to like flip back and forth between that and writing content, putting these visual front-end websites together, as well as I'm working on some videos, and I'm working on my YouTube presence, which is pretty small at the moment. But I've got a few videos I'm going to be launching. Actually, I'm going to watch one today. These are a few videos that I've done in the past that just I haven't put on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure how long they're going to last on my YouTube channel, because a lot of them are, you know, they're not mine. They're from other companies. So I might get copyright strikes. But I'll just pop them on there, see what happens. I'll name them differently, I guess. I don't know.
Don't they?
Yeah.
I think they're really hammering down on Flat Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll put them out there so people can download them, and I will put the videos themselves on my websites, or a couple of my websites, so that way, like, you know, because that's one of our solutions here is to just host the videos yourself. I know it takes the technical understanding of how to do that, but it's and I also intend on starting to make a whole series of videos on various topics. One of which is show people how to build websites and how to, you know, get them out. But again, I'm doing so much right now that it's been hard to even have a YouTube channel. So
yeah, I'd like to have all this library of information on DVD. Yeah, and present this to the people.
He has been on and showed us inside the project, and it's layer upon layer, isn't it?
I mean, I could show right now. I don't know.
Do you want to share a little bit?
You want to show a little bit? I can show a little bit.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second here. Let's see.
Because you're talking about it, but people like to see things, don't they? So your project.
Yes, people are very visual, myself included. All right, let's see.
Maybe yoga stuff.
You want me to do some yoga for you?
Something for the heart, something for the mind. Yes, good energy, good charger. Yeah.
All right, so let's all take a deep breath.
Good.
So here's a random quote generator that I have. And this quote I just got randomly right now says, "To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe." Very nice. Okay, so let me just take you on a little tour of a few of these websites. Earth Aaron. I don't know how well this is going to come through the screen grab. Kind of.
Yeah, we can see that good.
But yeah, this is just my own site, and this is an album I made a while ago. If you guys want to buy that, that's one way to. Or I'm not making much from that, but check it out. You can listen to the whole thing there. And it's relaxing. It's good for yoga here. I don't know how much you'll hear it. Very relaxing. So then fill out this form. If you want to get a hold of me, just leave me a message. Say hello. All right, so there's me. Not a whole lot yet, but eventually it'll show. I'll have all my accolades and whatnots, videos and things. Then, oh, look at this global consciousness. What a farce. So then there's the up and coming Iron Coin site, which there's that Thomas Jefferson quote. It says, "The issuing power of currency shall be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs." You guys hearing the relaxing waterfall?
Nice.
Yeah, we can just about hear the music.
You can just go there and listen to it for yourself. It's probably much better in your own high fidelity. But One Drop's Journey, check that out. And then here's a little countdown to Sunday. I'll probably launch this tonight. There's a little roadmap.
Are you going to the launch then, Aaron?
The rocket launch? No. Probably not. No, I'll be working on all this. But I'm connect with IPS. He's going to be out there. He's going to be getting some of it on film, and then we're going to get some of that into the into this pilot episode of Finding the Edge. So hopefully he doesn't die. That's my biggest concern. I think he'll be all right, though. I think he knows what he's doing. But I don't know that much about him or like what his whole thing is, so he could also just be, who knows? Who knows? I'm not going to conjecture more than I already have.
Where's this rocket going from, roughly, or don't you know?
What's it called? Amboy or something like that in California. It's about 5 hours from here. I would have gone actually, but IPS is saying that I wouldn't necessarily be able to even be there because it's like restricted access to, he had to push for himself to even be able to be there. So I might not even be able to be close enough to see anything. So that's why I decided not to go out there. And I'm trying to finish all this stuff up and launch on Sunday. So I'm trying to launch all of this, Iron Coin, Projectlumen. I have a lot of work to do until then. All right, so I have found that if you love life, nice. Here is the wallet on my local machine, which is secure. And so this is basically long password. Well,
We've got to remember how to get into your program.
yeah. I mean, this is a test count, so there's no coin on here. If you had coin, you would see coin, and you would see here flat earth coin or iron coin or whatever coin. So you can use this wallet to store Bitcoin, Waves, Ethereum, Litecoin, Zcash, and a whole host of other coins. And then, as well as Iron Coin, of course, and Flat Earth Coin. And then you could also like create a new account. And so this gives you a wallet seed. Let me just show you how this works. This is interesting. So I'm creating a new account here. It gives me a seed for my wallet. Now what this is just a few words And what they will do is they will translate into a private seed, or they and so you would just fill this out. You would create a password, and then you just you don't really need this. But if you were going to import, if I went over here to import, I could import my wallet seed. It would ask for the password that I had chosen, and now I can log into my wallet. So it's pretty secure, quite secure. And then let me log in again. Here is this guy. And then you would come over here to backup. And so you can see now this is the test account. So now I'm showing everyone my private information that you should not show to anyone, which is why I'm using the test account. But here's the seed phrase. Here it is encoded. Here's the private key. So basically, this is all like the private key is what gives you access. The public key is more related to your address. You don't have to understand all this, but just understand that you have a private key and a public key. And you do not want to share your private key or this with anybody. This is what gives you access to your wallet. As long as you're the only one that knows this, then you're the only one who would have access to your wallet. And you could actually memorize these words along with your password, and now you can travel. You could have $1 million worth of Bitcoin in this wallet here, and you would be able to travel. Like no one would be able to even know that you have this because you have it all in your head. It's memorized, and then you could retrieve it from anywhere, from any computer with an internet connection. You'd be able to go to Iron Wallet and pull that money out or do whatever. So here you can see I have the test account there as well because I'm testing it, but I'm not using real through this because it is not secure. So do not use this yet. But hopefully Sunday we'll have it all secured and ready to go.
Right, so you're still working on it a little bit then?
Yeah.
You'll probably be working on it forever, won't you?
I have been already. A few forevers. I've already been working on this. Okay, so then let me see.
I'm very proud of you, Aaron, because it's really great to be here with you who's got this project. And I said there's not really many people like you. Okay, you can say Tallinger, but he's bigger. He's some other country. He's not connecting with us. He's doing his own thing in his own country. Here you are doing a project for the world, although I know he wants his project for the world as well. But
yeah, and I'm hoping that he'll want to work together. I think he will at some point, and hopefully soon. Because he's a power player, and I'd love to have him on the team. And that's my whole thing. Is I've connected with with you guys for a while now, and then I'm part of the FE Core group, and I've been connecting with the various main YouTubers to at least to enough degree, so hopefully they know who I am. And I've been doing a lot on Facebook. And then recently, in the last few weeks, I've been really connecting with IPS and his group. And there are a bunch of movers and shakers, a lot of genius creators of various sorts, artists, musicians, and activists, and really, pounding the pavement. And so my whole thing is collaboration. And my condition is that if you're not willing to work with the rest of us, then it might not work out. And I think Tallinger is definitely someone who is willing to work. He's just, he is so busy and he has so much going on. He probably didn't read that email that I sent him. But, I think he'll be on board. I think a bunch of other people will be on board. And then some people are not coming on board. And those people I'm questioning, or I just say, well, if they want to come on board later, join the team, they're open to. But until then, I'm not going to go put a whole lot of work out there trying to get them to join us. If they just want to do their own thing, that's fine. You know, but this is a group, this is a movement where we check our egos at the door and we decide to work together rather than everyone trying to work in silos and in private and reinvent the wheel constantly. You know, it really is about us coming together. So I thank you for the compliment, and I'm glad that we've been doing this show, Karen. This has been great. It's been great putting it out there, and a lot of people have found this through your shows. And I know that you've done a lot, Karen. You've done you've brought a lot to the surface, just interviewing people, bringing them onto your show, and so thank you. And this is great. This is all great work. And
thank you, Aaron. I'm pleased that you're here, Aaron. And as I said, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Aaron. It was very beautiful and interesting. And wow, big wow.
All right, so here's the working Projectlumen right now. So I got to work on some content, but we get a nice flat horizon up in there. And then here's some just demo projects. I'm kind of just throwing in there some demo imagery. But you'd be able to come on here, say, okay, and there'll be text, of course, and other photos, and not necessarily a horizon with iron coin, but it's all just development, and the colors will probably be different. And there'll be more here. You'll be able to just do a little more here, but this is just to get it all working. What was that, Judith?
Incredible picture.
I know, this is a beautiful picture.
Oh, wow.
And so there, I just added this contribution to my cart. There it is. And you'll be able to check out or go. Maybe I want to put, $20 into them making that pilot for finding the edge. There you go. Now you got it up there. And so now, and then it's going to have this whole profile, which at this point, obviously, very minimal. But this is kind of placeholders for the ultimate system to be able to work with authentication. And yeah.
Kitty has a question. She said, "Where is the key stored?" So it must be to do with you making your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, where is the key stored?
Well, the key won't be on Projectlumen. The key will be in the wallet. Let's see. Where'd it go? It'll be. Let's see.
An Astral Thief would like to say, tell him it's awesome content, as always, fabulous. That's from Astral Thief.
Thank you. You knew how long I spent on it. LastPass, very good, although I wouldn't use it for storing your crypto passwords. Not now. See here, the question was, where is the private key stored? So now it is on the, it's in, technically this is the Waves blockchain, which is technically the Ethereum blockchain. So technically all your transactions and your, even this, well, the encoded seed is going to be stored in the blockchain itself. That's how it verifies that you have the correct seed. And so it's not necessarily stored on your computer, and that's probably why you're asking, is because a lot of these wallets, you want to have stored on your computer. Now, once I have the executable desktop version and mobile version, it'll be stored on your computer in that way. But until then, it's going to be online. But it's all processed. It still will be secure, and as long as you remember, as long as you have this safe and your password safe, no one can access it. And it hasn't been hacked, so far so good. But this is based on a solid, stable wallet technology. So don't think that I'm just building this all from scratch and hoping that my security works out. So this is all tried and true, and it is just like any other blockchain wallet. I'm going to do more with it. I'm going to, and it's going to look a lot different. This is actually based on the Waves wallet. I basically just took their open source project and turned it into the Iron wallet. But I'm going to be tapping into it in other ways. And this is just for the immediate ability to have a blockchain and have be able to raise the seed capital for the next steps, which will definitely be building our own wallet. And the wallet itself will actually be sort of like the operating system. And so, and it'll also be plugged into the framework. So now Projectlumen will actually be leveraging the Iron framework and the Iron wallet. And so actually you will be able to go to Projectlumen and sort of see your coinage, and you'll be able to make transactions and do everything from Projectlumen, just as anybody else will be able to once the framework is completely done. You'll be able to make your own platform that uses these same technologies. That's a big part of the idea here. And so that way, I mean, this is just, this isn't just like a new currency. This is a whole framework like Ethereum, but it's not just another framework. This is going to be a whole ecosystem that I'm building out. Developers are going to love this. I've been building this. I mean, I don't know if there's any developers watching, but
how long has this taken you, Aaron?
I mean, years, decades. I've been working on this overall for quite a long time, even just in conception. Ever since Bitcoin first came out, I started having the idea of incorporating it into this whole system that I'd already been working on for a while. And then the software itself, I've been pretty actively building it for the last 5 years, I'd say. It's basically, it's a front end, back end. This is the client and the server. And, I'm using Docker, and I'm using, so it'll be scalable. It's using all open source projects. It's using various, so this is, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, this is using something called Sales.js. And then I'm using, on the front end, I'm using what's called Vue.js. So extremely modern frameworks for development. And then I'm incorporating them together into a system that is basically going to enable developers to build applications very quickly, very easily, that will then have all the bells and whistles that they would ever need. And then it's going to allow the layperson who doesn't know how to code, it's going to allow them to develop platforms and applications pretty quickly without having to know any code. And so that's going to all sit on top of this Ironcoin blockchain. And there's a few possible ways in which we might do the Ironcoin blockchain itself, but I don't want to get too much into details at this point. Let me think here. If there's anything else I want to show, any questions?
You said that you were working on it, so it's not quite live, or people can join up to all the Aaron website, the Lumen one and the Bitcoin one. Everybody can actually join up to those now, can they?
Yeah, you can sign up. So, actually not that one. earthaaron.com. Say hello. You can sign up. You can leave me a message. This is the only one you can leave a message, so if you really want to say something to me right now, then just come here, leave me a message. But the other ones, yeah, Projectlumen, Ironcoin, they all have contact forms, or at least put your email. And once I launch this, hopefully on Sunday, I will be doing an email blast to everyone on those lists, as well as I will be going hog wild on Facebook and all the other platforms. And I'm hoping to have a surprise for everyone as well. In addition to all this, I very well might have a surprise as I launch all this to have something else with it. But I don't want to tell you what the surprise is because it's a surprise, and because if I don't get it done, then you'll just be like, "Oh, I wonder what the surprise was."
I'm just signing up to Aaron's world. I mean, earthaaron.com right now.
Excellent. And then I will see if that form works. Yeah, very early stages. A lot of this stuff. Been working like a madman to. Oh, it looks like someone.
You're not a madman.
Well, I've been working like a madman. Let's see here. We got, oh, look at that. Mr. Aaron Hansen purchased my album after I plugged it. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah.
Ian Crosley just said that he's joined the Iron Wallet.
Okay, well, I mean, you can, but sign up for the one online at your own discretion. It's fine. It's probably fine. You know, just know that like it's not.
Wait till Sunday. Is that what you want him to do? Is wait till Sunday?
Yeah, that's probably the wise move. I'm just showing everyone. I'm just showing people. See the not secure, the big fat not secure. That's. I mean, it's unlikely that you're going to have a man in the middle that's going to steal your password, but it's possible. So I don't want to tell anyone to do it. I would actually, you know, tell people not to do it. If you want to make a fake account just to check it out, that's fine. But don't put any money on there. And I'm not going to. Don't give me that as your wallet address because I don't want to send any coin to that. So just be aware of that. And I'm actually hoping to have that secure in the next couple of days. So if you go there and it has a lock and it's green, then it's okay. So I'm trying to get that set up. And
it's an ongoing process, yeah, at the moment.
Yeah, it's all an ongoing process. I mean, like I said, I have like 7 websites I'm trying to launch. I have the 2 platforms, the wallet, this wallet, and then I have the surprise that I'm working on, and then there's the rocket launch, and there's the meetup on Sunday.
And don't forget the media.
And the what?
The media. You know, you've got camera crew, haven't you?
Well, I do, and they're hopefully going to be here on. They're going to be here on Sunday to capture the launch, capture our meetup, and maybe capture some of our group collaboration on making this pilot episode. So yeah, a lot going on, but I'm game. You know, I'm ready to rock and roll. My actual vision and desire is to be breaking ground on the first community around this next year, early next year. So that's my vision. That's what I'm shooting for. And I see it happening because, well, I can kind of see the future. Only kind of, though.
So when you get your wallet seed, do you actually keep those words? Because they're very important words. So
yeah, it's not a bad idea to write them down, put them in a safe place. You can even put them in a safe deposit box. I'm going to switch off a screen share here, unless anyone else has anything else they want to see.
I don't think there's any questions at the moment, Aaron, but they're all interested. Yeah, people have said great stuff, Aaron, and stuff like that. I think it's, again, Aaron, it's just a case of, I know it's repetition, but it's coming on occasionally and just repeating this, because obviously there's more people. I've had to start the channel again. There's different people, more people coming on. And then suddenly it's a bit like, instead of talking about the Lumen Project, it will actually be the Lumen Project, and we're talking about being, rather than, at the moment, you're just edging into it, aren't you?
Right. It's just starting, and it's got to start somewhere, and this is me just promoting it, trying to get people excited about it and see my vision here. I think everything will make a lot more sense once I launch these things. Once I get more info up online on these various sites, but also once I launch like the Lumen platform itself, where people can sign up and then be contributing and be involved online as like a social network. You're going to start seeing what I'm talking about here, how this could be an operating system for us all, how we can use these as the tools that will move us forward and be organized. How lessen our dependency on all these centralized platforms that are selling our private information. All that the value of it will be seen, as well as the utility of everything. Google sucks. Their software sucks, actually. Most people don't realize that because they are so dominant. But, it's not good software. So I'm producing good software, and you'll see what good software actually looks like. Not to sound too arrogant, but it really is true. It's very outdated. Google software is very outdated. Yeah, they'll slap a new skin on there, but I know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's not great. And then, all these other platforms like Facebook and YouTube, of course, and even Twitter and everything, Steam it, just you name it. It's all censored. It's all centralized. And, they're not going to let us go forward with this revolution, not on their platforms. So our best option is to jump ship and go to a new platform that's free of censorship, and it's free of the possibility of censorship. And that's what I'm instilling. I'm instilling this corruption-proof technology where even if I wanted to corrupt it, I couldn't. I'm putting in a preventative system here where it's going to be completely corruption-proof and self-moderating. Where and I say self-moderating, and I don't mean artificial intelligence. I mean that like the members will be the ones that are representing themselves and choosing who. People won't fit sometimes, but it's because they're trolls and they're attacking and they're unwholesome, and so people will have to be censored in that way. And so that's a very touchy subject that needs to be worked out. Like, how do we decide who is censored? And so rather than me just making that decision, or a central authority like Facebook probably uses, we create a system that allows us to decentralize those decisions and make it more of a collective group consensus. And then once the group comes to a consensus about something like that, then the action is taken based on the group consensus. That technology is all doable. It's happening mostly at the software scale right now. It has been for many years, already been happening. What I'm doing is I'm taking these concepts and I'm introducing them into more of the common world, where now we are interacting with open source concepts. For me to be, or for FE Core, for example, to be putting out all of these experiments and taking in all this data and then putting it out to the public. It's in the public domain. That is a great example of taking the open source principle and applying it to something beyond just software. And that's what I'm doing as well, very much. And I'm going to be applying that to everything, so that now everything is in the public domain. And this is the whole root of the problem, where we have proprietary organizations that are now in a capitalistic society. They're competing with one another. They're all in their silos, doing the same things, reinventing the same wheels independently of each other. And the whole reason is because of that proprietary greed. And the whole reason for that is because of the monetary greed. Well, if we eliminate a lot of those factors and we set it up so now you're incentivized to just work on the one project that's common to everyone. It's open source, so now we don't have a need for secrets. We don't have to hoard any information or data that we're finding or discoveries. We're able to all benefit from everyone's effort. It's no longer a capitalistic group. We are a family. We are working together.
I like that.
Yeah, and so therefore now we are going to be more powerful than everything else. I've seen this with open source projects. I mean, yeah, there's Microsoft Windows, which sucks and always has. There's Mac OS, which sucks and always has, and it gets worse. And the reason they're dominant is because they have forced themselves upon people in their computers. Microsoft, Bill Gates literally forced himself by creating all these exclusivity contracts with all these computer manufacturers, saying you can't sell a computer unless you put Windows on here. And then when they buy the computer, they have to pay us at least like $300-400 just for this operating system. And then when it was the the lawsuit against Microsoft saying that this is a monopoly, they won that somehow. I don't understand, but so now Microsoft was allowed to get away with having a monopoly, not having to open source their operating system. Well, we need to do something about that now. Linus Torvalds, he's already doing something. He's already been doing something. He created Linux and Ubuntu, and that's an open source operating system. Now look at that community. It's bustling, it's growing, they've been evolving. Yeah, it has been kind of behind the other operating systems. The main reason for that is because of the limitations. A lot of software companies will make it so you cannot install this on a Linux machine because of their exclusivity relationships with either Mac or Microsoft. It's this whole racket. It's really annoying from my perspective because I see it happening and I see the challenges that I face because the software is less than par. Oh, I can't run this on this OS. It's a shit show. But I'm solving this, and part of how I'm solving this is by creating a new operating system that, and I've been working on this for quite a long time. This is one of my longest projects. And this has an acronym as a name, and I will tell you what it is. The name is called SOSVASIUM, which actually stands for the Sustainable Open Source Hypervising Operating System in a Machine. And it is a thing, and it is coming along, and it will be. I probably will use a different name once we finally roll out, but it'll probably be the sauce. Or sauce, just sauce. Or maybe the secret sauce, but there's going to be no secrets.
Hey, Daniel,
Anyway.
did you see those two messages on the panel?
What am I looking for? Where?
Kitty.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. What are the questions?
Well, Kitty says exciting times.
Uh-huh.
Aaron is amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And yeah, I mean, it's good to be talking about this stuff, sharing this. I've been working on it a long time, and really want to get to this point where it's time to really come out with it. I have actually been kind of isolated and secretive about it because I knew that the world wasn't quite ready for it. The reason I'm on here today talking about it and have been is because the world's ready for it, and we are ready for it, and I'm ready for it. And it's time to stand up and talk about what it is that we are being compelled to talk about. We each have a mission. I believe that very strongly. And it goes back to the spiritual reality and the source, and be able to connect with our true self. And as we do that, as we remember the source, we will also remember why we came here. We didn't come here to play sports ball or watch sports ball, or just like chase after imaginary carrots. We came here to help this ascension, this awakening that's happening, and this is the only reason any of us came here right now, technically. Now, there's a lot of diluting, a lot of disillusionment. People have gotten distracted and lost all over the place. And even the powerful spiritual warriors have gotten lost quite often. Flat Earth is a vehicle here's all the mostly awake people are a part of this Flat Earth movement. And then even on that, there's sort of the cream of the cream at the top, which is, the groups like this that are really doing things, coming out, speaking about it, doing the work, doing the exploration, challenging the system and the status quo, awakening people, planting seeds. This is all the good work that is being done, and I commend everyone that's doing this. And I'm inviting again for everyone to come along with me on this venture of creating something that is truly for the people, by the people. It's only through this collaboration and this cooperation and a willingness to check our ego at the door and see eye to eye, because we're all on the same level. We're all on the same plane here. And that's part of what the flat earth realization shows people, is that we're not on all these different angles. Nope, we're just all equal on the same plane. And that is part of the awakening, the collective awakening. That is what they have used against us, in the sense of their power over us has been based on this illusion that they are actually on some, oh, I was born into royalty. Ooh, like that means anything at all to us as divine beings. It means nothing, and it means really.
I don't know whether you heard a hangout we had the other day with Dojo Time. I asked him to come on because he'd understood that a lot of people are using their ego incorrectly, and they should respect their ego, respect it in a different way. Him and use it connected really well. But I'd like him to come back. He's trying to teach children a different way, so they're learning it from when they're younger. Because a lot of us have been indoctrinated with this nasty ego, isn't it? It's a argumentative, don't care attitude in this ego we have. And I just thought it was wonderful that he's starting to go to children and help children. And so maybe those children will grow up with, I know it's not millions right now, but if more people were like him, then differently.
Oh, absolutely. And they already are. They're being born differently. Kids being born nowadays, they pretty much have all this stuff. They're plugged in. They're plugged into the source. It might seem like the millennials they're so engrossed in their phones, and that's why. That's why they gave us this high technology of the smartphone, is to distract the shit out of us. And it's working. It's working on the millennials because they're the ones that were born with a phone in their hand. But here's the thing, is it's weak. It's a weak distraction. It's not going to take much for them to pull their heads up away from the phones and realize what's going on. And once they do, they're going to be some of the most powerful members of our society, because they're becoming the ages where they could be influential. They can take action. They still have the energy to take the action. They haven't gotten too old to just beat down. A lot of us get so beat down through our lives of trying to see the truth and speak the truth, or just be who we are, and then we get society is not conducive to spiritually awake people. And so rather than that, just dig your head into a smartphone for now. But as these things really start happening, as the kids become more and more awake already, they're going to be showing us how it works. They're going to be showing us how to wake up and not be distracted by this constant barrage of propaganda and distraction. Because the children are the future, always. And that's how
the future.
Yeah. We need to be.
And at the moment, they're innocent. They're innocent to all this corruption. And, I mean, it is a bit annoying, isn't it? Because without all this technology we hate, we would be talking today. So in a sense, it helps. But it doesn't help as well. Most people are glued. They've got their noses on their phone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, technology, again, it's an impartial tool, be used for good, for bad, or not so good. But it's still like there's a much greater technology at work here. And that is the divine presence, whatever you want to call it. It's the divine order of things. There is justice. Justice manifests from the top down. And so it takes time to trickle onto the earthly plane. But it is occurring. Justice is happening. And we can all rest assured of that. And we can just rest in general. We can relax knowing that it's all going to be okay. There's no reason to fear or to stress. I have seen that time and time and time again in my life. that there was never a utility or a usefulness out of stressing about things or worrying about things, because things always do work out, and they always work out for the best, even though it might not be exactly what we want. And oftentimes it's not what we wanted, but it's always for the best. And this is truth that I have come to see very deeply within me, that this permeates all existence. This is how it is. We are not these godless, powerless Lego people. You know, we are divinity incarnate that is learning to express that. And that is it. That is it. And here's some of the hurdles, some of the challenges that we are facing with it. And, you know, every day goes by and it's another day, and it seems like, oh, things aren't getting better or they're getting worse. No, things are getting much, much better, exponentially quicker. And that is a lot of the drama you're seeing. It's like I use the metaphor that, like, a child, when it's tired, a toddler, you know, he's going to get really grumpy. He's going to, you know, he's going to swear that he is not tired and that he doesn't want to go to bed. But you're going to know as the parent that what he really needs is a good sleep. And that, you know, once you can get him to go to bed, then everything will be okay. And I liken that to society right now. The ego itself of society is this adolescent, or even a toddler, that it's time to wake up. But it's similar. It's like, I don't want to wake up. You know, it's not the solution. Me waking up is not the solution here. What I need is more cake. You know. And so it's like we're as a collective kind of whining and complaining about this change that we know is impending. And really it's manifesting with these politicians and their behavior, all these deeds that would be considered by a lot of us as completely inhumane, which they are, but what are they really? They're really a denial of our true nature. You know, if you have problems with pedophilia, there's a deeper problem there. And that deeper problem really pertains to you not being honest with yourself about who you are. I mean, if you had a dream that you were molesting a child, that dream would be symbolic, and the symbology of that dream would be that a child would represent a part of yourself that is pure, innocent, and then there's you that doesn't like that. That once you want that purity, that innocence, but then at the same time you don't like it, so you want to have control over it. And that control over that purity, the innocence that we each have within us, is this mindset that has caused collectively these diseases within society, these dysfunctions. And they are dysfunctions, and they need to be rectified. There does need to be justice served, because this is not right. This is a crime against humans and humanity. And there have been many crimes against humanity, and those do need justice. Who is the one to serve that justice? Well, there's no one to serve that justice. It's up to the collective to decide, to come to consensus using our hearts about how we do this. And this is how we will grow beyond this condition that we're in. And the fact that all this is coming to the surface right now, and the fact that there's all this turmoil and drama, is actually a really good sign that this toddler is getting really grumpy and really bratty, and just like does not want to do whatever it is that they know is about to happen. And that's waking up. We are waking up, whether they like it or not. And part of that means is it's time for them to come clean about what's been going on, about the secrets they've been keeping. It's time for us to come to be self-honest about what has been going on here and what we can do about it. And that's what it comes down to. And again, there's no reason to worry or fear. This is an actually a natural process.
Does your kind of deal with this NASA lie thing and the government lie thing? I mean, what do you do with all these people who have lied to us terribly, and it's treason? Does the Lumen Project deal with them?
I mean, I see the NASA lies as big, but not even as big as a lot of the other lies. There's a lot of lies to wade through, and I do think we need to. That's why I'm saying we can come together, pull all the evidence together, create a case or sort of a public hearing for the public, by the public, where we decide what to do about
We
this.
need to put them all on the rockets and send them off. They think they can go to the moon. Send them to the moon.
Yeah, well, we could bluff, and we could we could just
They
put
need to
them
go
on the
on the
rocket
front
ship.
like that man, and then they can experience
Duct tape them.
just
Yep.
a fat plane.
Yeah.
Well, let's put them in vacuum chambers with spacesuits. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I agree. Yeah, let's do that one.
I
Give
love
it a
it.
video where they've got a vacuum chamber with in the 60s or 50s.
And he just passed out.
I mean, you have to actually listen to the words. He doesn't. He says, "Let's see how long you can stand it." It's about to last in there. So why are they showing it in the way that they are?
Well, did you see this thing with McCain and he has a bunch of these people have boots on their feet. Like he supposedly cut his Achilles tendon, but it was on his left foot, and now it's on his right foot or something. It's like switched foot. And then Chelsea Clinton also has one of these boots, and there's a couple others maybe that have these boots. Like these people are on house arrest. Like there's something going on here that we're not being told. You know, there is. I think there is justice being served here. I think all these 2,000 plus indictments are very, very likely.
You mean with Hillary?
Well, not that the problem is being solved completely, but that this is a first step. I think, you know, I don't know that I'll ever trust Trump until I meet him and able to have a solid conversation eye to eye. You know, I'm going to assume that the U.S. president is corrupt, because that's just what I've grown up believing and realizing. But at the same time,
what do you think happens to them? Do you think once they become president or whatever, they get taken to this place and shown like the truth?
I think normally that's how it has been. I think that it is possible that Trump is a slightly different case. I think Trump cheated better at the vote, so you know, he was able to win that one. But Hillary was really pissed off because she cheated too, and she was supposed to win. I think she was probably told for a while that she was going to be the next president, and she seems genuinely upset about that. You know, whereas was it Al Gore, you know, he was never really that was always surprising. He was never really that upset, even though he technically won that election. That just showed the fallacy in the election process, as well as you know, why isn't he more upset? And then he's pushing global warming. Give me a break, you know, saying that that's the real issue here.
I just don't want to vote for that system anymore. I just can't. Now you know the truth. There's just no way coming. I don't feel very Christmassy. The whole thing has changed for me now. Now you know what it's about.
Right.
I think.
Right. No, it's very true. You know, I feel like this is happening where this community is growing. I mean, there's just the conference in Raleigh. We had the FEMA camp a few weeks ago. We're going to have another FEMA camp pretty soon, and we're going to have another conference. There's the UK conference. I think there's like one in Germany, you know, there's conferences all over the place, and people are meeting each other. People are doing meetups and gatherings, and those gatherings are getting bigger and bigger and more regular. I think we're going to get to the point where it's more and more just commonplace, where people like us are just surrounded by no one but people like us.
Hey, that sounds good.
Yeah, and that's our first step here, is to really create a family as much as you can. Yes. Of, you know, like-minded individuals, where then we're now, you know, because my life is pretty good in that regard, you know. I've got other challenges, but I mean, as far as my friends, you know, I've got some good friends. Honestly, for some, you know, first time in my life, I'm actually like, I like my friends, you know, and I'm like-minded with my friends. Usually it's just been a compromise. I'm like, they're good enough. I'll talk to these people, hang out with these people, whatever. We'll go get drunk and forget about everything.
Yeah,
You know?
Aaron, my son-in-law, he is a skipper, and he actually believe and try to convince me, try to to tell me and explain to me that we are living in the ball and the ocean stick in the ball. You see,
Yeah.
you are going to travel with the boat from the sea to another sea in the same level.
Hmm.
All the sea in the same level. No ball. But I didn't realize to explain this and make him see this. You see, it's take time. It's incredible, huh? Yeah, I love him very much. And yeah, you see, I do it, this change with love and patience. And like you said, it's coming. It's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, wonderful.
Hmm. Yeah, people will be attached, and you can't really change them. You just have to love them and plant seeds and hope that, and water those seeds and hope that eventually they'll come around, right? Uh, but we got to let go of that attachment. Personally, as far as like what we're doing, it's not about imposing this on people. And I hope that there hasn't been too much drama today as far as the family gatherings and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
trying to push
No.
their beliefs on the rest of their family.
Oh, no, no, it's not
I'm
like
sure there's
this.
been some throwdowns with this, but yeah, it's really important that we don't be too aggressive with things. It's okay to be active, and it's good to be active. We do need to be active, but aggressive, no. Aggressive is counterproductive. Don't
Absolutely
push.
right. I agree. Yeah.
It's not fire with fire. It's not force against force. We got to yield to that force. Be willing to, it's like relationships. I don't know. Like sometimes, even if you're the right one, you just gotta be like, you're right, I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. It's not, it's not about the ego, and that's the part that wants to be the right one and wants the other one to admit that they're right, that you're right, is the ego.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the bigger thing to do is just be like, okay, you're right, and just
Yeah.
move on.
It's
Uh,
coming.
and and that's kind of like with this stuff. It's like you can plant the seed, and if they're just
That's
putting up a
right.
wall, then
Yeah.
like okay, fair enough. To each his own. Whatever you want to believe, no worries.
Yeah.
You know.
Flat Earth hugs for Aaron.
Absolutely. You know, I have a Nikon P900, and
Ah.
when I show my grandson, he's 6 years old, I show them the moon. So immediately he asked me, Grandma, where is the spaceship? Ah, ha, 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 ha.
Good question.
Oh
Very,
yeah, oh
very
yeah,
valid question.
genius. Ha, ha, ha.
That is
Yeah,
really funny. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what'd you tell him?
I tell him the truth, no spaceship, it's only in the movie. Nothing there, only moon. Oh yeah, he's going to hear the truth from his grandmother. The truth.
Very good.
I'm already telling him he's not leaving the ball. You already know. He knew he live in the ball.
Huh.
I think, yeah. Yeah, they give him the ball from the day they burn. In the movie, in the TV, and everywhere. Yeah.
Did you say you burned?
What?
Did you say you burned, or what did you say?
No,
Birthed.
no,
Oh,
the ball. You
yeah, yeah, yeah,
know, the
yeah.
moment the children born,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
they give them the ball. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Smash that globe. Smash that globe.
Yep. Yeah.
Something else you haven't touched upon much is that there will be Flat Earth TV as well.
Yeah, yeah. This is kind of related to my surprise, as well as the reality shows are going to be kind of the launching, the beginnings of Flat Earth TV. My overall picture with that is to create a whole network that is.
Aaron, is the fact that you can't get that TV going. Actually tune in and watch the Flat Earth TV. You can have it running Sky channel 762 Flat Earth TV. You can't get that going and see what people are like about watching it.
Well, right, but I mean, we already know that it's a hot topic, and we know it's getting hotter, and we also know that that there's no one doing this kind of programming, or I like to call it deprogramming, where they're just doing the unbiased truth. I mean, there's like Gaia.com, they do some things, but who knows about they don't touch Flat Earth really, and I think they're a little like they got their gloves on still with all this stuff. But their model, they're an independent company that actually, they started out as just like a yoga mat company, and then they've grown to producing all of these various videos, and then now they're alive. Like you can just watch stuff live. You can watch their shows, and you pay, I think it's like $10 a month to watch their stuff, and we can do something like that. The technology I have, I mean, they use some of the old technology that I used to use for their system currently, whereas I have new tricks up my sleeve for doing things much better. This will be better than YouTube. This will be better than everything, because how I operate is I pay attention to the evolution of technology, so I'm always on the cutting edge. And if I need to change the language that I'm working with, that's what I do based on what's necessary. I don't get attached and then get comfortable. Or I do get comfortable, but then I will, challenge myself to come out of that comfort zone to be working with the most modern technologies. And this will allow me to offer those modern technologies to you, through these various platforms and through these various mechanisms. We'll not only have our own television network. I mean, we'll have a whole environment, a whole ecosystem online, and people will be meeting in person every week, and probably get to a point where there's intentional communities. People are traveling from intentional community to intentional community. A lot of this is getting put into reality shows and new kinds of shows that don't even really exist yet. That'll be based on the crowd working together to produce things. They'll be working on, various individual characters that are just very fascinating, that we'll be able to follow along based on expeditions that we'll be taking to the far reaches and the edges of our known reality, based on experimentation that we'll be doing, based on stunts that we'll be doing, like firing a steam-powered rocket up into the sky. All of this will be part of FETV. It is part of FETV, and so I've been putting that out there.
Like the rocket on Sunday. The rocket on Sunday could go on there.
Yeah, well, the rocket on Saturday, which might be your Sunday, I don't know, but is going to be on the Finding the Edge reality show pilot, which will be coming out this next week, and that's related to the Infinite Plane Society and a number of people that are involved and all working together to make this stuff happen. It's a collaboration. It has been IPS and his group that's really been spearheading it, like a lot of other projects. But really, it is a collaboration, and they are open to working together. And like I said earlier, that's my white flag. When I see someone that's willing to work together, that's what I like to see, and that's what I'm seeing here with Sun and Moon. That's what I've been seeing with Infinite Plane Society. I've been seeing it with Mark Sargent and a number of other of the main people. the whole shill spotting phenomena, I think that's all ultimately coming from a disinfo campaign being launched by these powers that should not be, that are trying to distract us, cause infighting, and don't pay attention to any of that. Disregard it all. And if you actually only regard the people who are pointing out that Mark Sargent is a shill, because they're the ones you need to block and report on Facebook, because that's just, it's immature. Those people have not obviously looked into it. When someone's doing this, if you're doing this, that's flat Earth symbology. We've already adapted that as flat Earth symbology. If you don't understand that, then you're oblivious to the flat Earth community. And now if you're thinking that that's the same as this, as in what we've seen one graphic of a Freemason hand gesture. Well, they say, are you on the level? And it's more than likely that means, are you aware that the Earth is flat? And this is a symbol for that. And that's what they're doing in Freemasons, because they're partially responsible for that lie and deception. So it's no surprise that we're using that gesture. But it's, the attacking of people is just ridiculous. And we really need to take note that that's
one of the nicest people. He's helpful. He's helped me on my admin panel. He's never rude. He's never talks about anybody else. He's always jolly. He's always happy, even in the midst of being attacked. He always says what he's going to do. He never lets you down. He always catches up with you. He never wants anything from me. He always tells me what he's doing.
Yeah, and he was one of the first and brought so many people he's waking up.
And you can ring him.
Yeah, he puts his phone number on there, call.
People won't. You can ring him.
Yeah. No, shills wear masks, and you cannot give them phone calls. You definitely can't meet them in person, which a lot of us have done with Mark Sargent. And he's a great guy. He's a nice guy in person. I certainly don't see any flags. All that stuff, like I said, it's all just disinfo. They're trying to incite division. The same with the AI and Bitcoin. That's all just disinfo to try to get us to be afraid or get us not trusting one another, get us paranoid. Because paranoia is just like fear, if you're just afraid that something could come out of the darkness and bite you, and there's no reason to have that fear, because then you're just living in that fear rather than living in joy, living in happiness. Enjoy your life and do what your heart is humming to do. And that's all you need to do, really. There's no other requirement in life. And if you try to go against what your heart is suggesting you do, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems until you truly follow your heart. And that's true of everyone. And then at any point along that journey, if you veer from where your heart is trying to take you, you're going to, again, have problems. And so the moral of this story, follow your heart. And that's the moral of today's message. And, of my whole entire thing. And this is what I'm trying to demonstrate by example. I'm following my heart. I have been. And I more and more am now. I'm coming out. I'm talking about these things. I'm sharing these things. I'm willing. I'm having to check my own ego at the door. I have an ego too. And I have to constantly check it at the door. And then sometimes it gets a little out of hand, and I have to be like, whoa. We are still a humble human being that still has my lessons to learn and my various karma to heal, and a lot of action that I still need to take. We shouldn't compare ourselves to each other, because that's also ego. So just because I've been doing all this stuff and you haven't been doing stuff like this, doesn't matter. It's not your mission. This is my mission. And you can't have it. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't we? We all have a different part to play. We can't all be doing the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're doing your mission, Karen, and you and everyone, has their own mission. And that's part of the beauty of this realm, is that we are all individuals. We all have our own fingerprint, our own face, our own voice. And we get to manifest it. We get to discover ourselves as we share ourselves with the world. I didn't have this. I'm not reading off a teleprompter here, making all this up. I've got literally like 5 lines that are a few words of my notes. All this is just coming to me as you're hearing it. And that's
Can
part
I
of
ask
my.
you one thing?
Uh-huh.
I agree with this, and I really like what you've done. But in your project, you're talking about spirituality, not churches. So what do you say to people who are into churches, religion?
Get away from them. They're not healthy. They're cults. They're dogmatic. They're indoctrinating. They're just as bad, if not worse, than the scientific indoctrination that has caused us all to believe we're on spinning balls. There have been channels in the past who have channeled divine words and written those down, and some of those truths and words have made it through translation and interpretation into various holy works. But it's all so speculative, and it's neither here nor there, and so it's impossible to say, oh yeah, there was this guy named Jesus that it was a white guy with beard and sandals that walked around and brought people back from the dead. And then, I mean, that's all like a story. Okay. There's a bunch of books. One book called the Holy Bible. Well, that is just a book. The stories in there were written, admittedly, well after the death of Jesus, this character, whoever they were speaking of. And who is that character historically? It's kind of hard, pretty fuzzy. We don't know for sure. We know, the words were written by human beings. I've channeled a lot. I've channeled the source itself, but it doesn't speak English. I'll tell you that right now. It does not speak English. It doesn't speak Hebrew. It doesn't speak languages. It's the humans that interpret it into the languages, and so therefore it's valuable. And that's why all the Gospels are slightly different. Obviously, he didn't get it right the first time or the fourth time, and there's more Gospels than just four. And so I guess I'm going long-winded with this, but the point is that the truth is within us. The truth is in our heart. It is right there. If you are looking externally at anything, you're on the wrong course. You have lost the path. You are not following your heart. Your heart will never lead you external. The heart will never lead us externally to put our faith in anyone or anything externally, or an idea of someone who used to live with. Nope, it will never suggest that that's who we should be worshiping. It won't even suggest that we worship anything. Worship is a false idol. There's nothing to worship. We are not below any
Concept that if Jesus had come, the whole point was to be more like him. You can't be like him.
Yeah, living by example, then you try to live by his example. Yeah, I agree with that, and that's how I've kind of interpreted it for myself. I like the character of Jesus and a lot of what was said that he said. Sure, I like that a lot. I've studied the Bible a lot. The Lamsa Bible is, in my opinion, one of the best ones to look into because it's based on the original Aramaic translation, or the original Aramaic. And it's more modern translation of that. So it's a little more accurate. There's a few things that are clarified. But then I'm a huge...
Can I just say, Darren, we've got Sassy Undeniably in the chat room, and she just said, I can't wait till you all realise the truth of the matter concerning that stuff. And when you can actually live for today, there is value in that, not just the past, which none were there back. But she's into Michael Tallinger, that his I forget what we call it, Ubuntu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's into that movement.
Yeah, that's another great thing. Yeah, the Ubuntu movement, which is basically just treat everyone with respect. Kind of what I'm saying too. So that movement actually, yeah, it's really similar. Again, Michael Tallinger is definitely the most similar. Have in common. He's got a lot more traction in another way, So I look forward to meeting him and working together with him because I'm pretty sure that's going to happen at some point.
I'd love to get him on a hangout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll work with you on that if you want to work together to try to get him.
The thing is, like I said, his secretary or the person sending out all the emails just said he's really, really busy and he's on tour right now. And
well, that's fine, but even just to do a call, Just, I mean, not where we're putting it out in public. Just start a conversation with him. You know, that's how it begins. And I think once he would see what we're really doing, he would be a lot more interested. It's just he probably has so many things.
I thought I was writing to him now. You know, because I've joined that, and I get emails each week from Michael Tellinger, but just talking to emails out.
Yeah, it's a process, you know, and it's got to happen naturally. Some of these people are probably a little timid around us because we are flat earthers very openly, and they're still trying to figure out how to handle that situation. For them, for people like Tellinger and David Wolf and Jeff Berwick, it's like it's a political process. They can't just come out and say it. They're realizing because they will get attacked. They will lose their bread and butter if they come out too strongly with some of these concepts. You know, so like this production studio, you know, I actually talked to them about this, about how, you know, this is a very controversial topic, and they're talking about getting this onto the Discovery Channel and onto Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, and they have direct relationships. You know, this is their thing. They've done things for the channels. They've done controversial topics. They did a film called Mr. Death, which was about kind of the Holocaust deniers. They did something called Fog of War, which was about kind of Vietnam and Iraq War and how those were basically just, you know, a lot of smoke and mirrors. And they did something on vaxxers or whatever, anti-vax people. So they're already addressing these topics. And I don't know if they know how. I mean, this might not get picked up because of that reason, where if they're actually trying to get it on Discovery, I mean, Discovery has a globe as their logo. So, yeah, we'll see. But at the same time, you know, some of these mainstream channels, they have no choice but to start addressing this topic. It's happening very soon here. You know, all these things building up. It's time to start looking at it, people. It's unavoidable, and we're at that point where I think it's just completely unavoidable now. And so, you know, it's political. There's a lot of politics going on here. A lot of stuff behind the scenes. We just need to be aware of that. So don't take it too hard on people that might have talked about it, but then they withdrew, or people who haven't come out yet, because, you know, it is a process. I mean, for me, I came out years ago, and then, you know, I had a Facebook account, but I had never used it. And then when I started using Facebook, I was really like, well, I'm going to come out with this, but I'm going to do it slowly. So I did. I took probably like 3 months to ultimately come out to all my friends and family on Facebook that I was Flat Earther. And I did that because I didn't want to shock people too much all at once. I wanted to kind of plant little seeds and grow so that, you know, I could kind of
Flat Earth, for me, though, it covers the lies, the history, the language. It just covers, you know, things like 9/11. Just covers everything in this lie.
Yeah.
The wars, the fake news. It just goes on. The education system, NASA, it's all part of this great big deception they've got you in some kind of communism just to control you. Because they've got most people as zombies, like you say, looking at the television, looking at their phones.
Yep.
They don't know. They don't care. It's just...
Yeah, they don't know that they do care, but that's really the issue, is they've been trained to believe they don't care. You know, pessimism is very popular. Cynicism is very popular. And
if
so...
they knew the truth, Aaron, they'd never want it.
Yeah, exactly.
If everybody woke up and realised that $50-odd million a day is an absolute waste of time, so goodness knows what NASA are doing with it. Wars and HARP and CERN probably, and chemtrails. But I mean, if people really knew the truth, they wouldn't want it.
Of course not. Well, and they really wouldn't want the money either. I mean, if they understood the truth about money, I mean, if you had the option of like, okay, you can have all the money in the world, but everyone else is going to be impoverished, or everyone can have comparable, equal amounts so that everyone is taken care of. I'm quite confident that the majority would adopt that decision of everyone being taken care of, and me not individually having, you know, a million times more money than everybody else. Because that's all, I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous.
Isn't that the way? Like, instead of money just being this thing that we pay things with, the ruler, money is like a god. Without, you know, you've got to aspire to have millions. Otherwise, you know, that's what they're telling you. You're nothing if you're not a millionaire with money. And people have put more importance on money than real people.
Right. What is money? Money is an imaginary concept. It's not real, you know. So here we are, just wasting all this time, being completely non-productive in reality because we're spending it towards this imaginary concept. You know, instead, yeah, let's put in real. I mean, electricity is an imperative. It's real. We really need it for today's society. So let's figure out free energy. You know, let's put that energy into figuring out free energy. You know, the same with like crypto coin. Like we don't need to. I mean, this always blows my mind. Like banks are always the biggest buildings, you know, and it's like, well, why do they need so many people working there? They're not really doing anything. I mean, they're just you know, holding our money, usually stealing our money as much as they possibly can. Extorting us is just, you know, outrageously. And here they have all these massive buildings with all these employees. You know, like why do they even need employees? Like it's all robotic now, it's all automated. You know.
The same. I don't know about America, but we have this thing called the ombudsman. It took 4 years to look at my case because now it's 4 years too late. They said they couldn't help me. So I thought, oh my God, there's a whole government body being paid millions of pounds a year to do nothing because they can't help anybody because they make you wait too long. And I mean, they're supposed to be impartial. So as far as I can see, all they're doing is protecting the bank.
Yeah. I mean, fractional. You guys still have the fractional reserve over there, right? I mean, it's all fractional reserve. So, you know, that whole concept. I mean, it's not about service. It's not a service. It's a racket. It's a criminal organization. It's a syndicate that has basically established, you know, based on this illusion. Oh, well, we need them to issue the money. And it would be, you know, it would make sense. Like they've presented it well because they fooled us well, I should say, because, you know, it should be the U.S. Treasury that is actually printing the money, and that's how it should have been, and it should have been backed by gold or precious metals. And that's how it was originally, and then they tried to take it, and then we had to even get it back our ability to have gold ourselves. That was actually, it was illegal to own gold at one point in the U.S. And then, yeah, not too long ago. I mean, it was up until it was the 1900s, I think, that they got it back. That we got it back, and the dollar used to say, "In gold we trust," and it was about a trust or a treasury that was, you know, printing money based on the gold that was in reserve. But then they go ahead and they create the Federal Reserve, which is not federal. And it's not really a reserve either because, I mean, a reserve technically should be transparent about how much money is in there. Everyone should be able to audit it. And that's part of the of how it would work well. If the U.S. Treasury was actually the institution that was printing the money, and all that money being printed was based upon gold in reserve, and that gold in reserve was transparently visible, so anyone could go and see it. Now that's kind of hard, but that's the idea. Then it would be legit. That's how it was, and then they commandeered it with the Federal Reserve, a private organization. That actually, I mean, they already had central banks that they were pushing. I mean, central banks were a violation of laws. They got those laws overturned and implemented the central banks. Once we get this problem resolved, we will again make that, you know, we will outlaw central banks as well as usury. But yeah, essentially they came in, they infiltrated, and then here we are still living this illusion that like that they're even a legitimate organization. Meanwhile, Bitcoin comes along, created by humans, not AI, and it gives us a store of value that is transparent. It's auditable, and not only that, but it's non-corrupt. It's non-corruptible, so you can't corrupt it. What else do we need? I mean, so we don't need a U.S. Treasury now. You know, their smart move would have been like, okay, we were wrong. We'll get rid of the Federal Reserve and we'll return back to the U.S. Treasury. And now, you know, the money is in the hands of the people. And then they could have still had a degree of control while giving us a greater illusion of freedom. But because they are so greedy, and we're just getting worse and worse and worse, you know, to the point where now $600 billion a year to the U.S. military budget. You know, it just got out of hand, and now, you know, Bitcoin kind of came out of necessity. Blockchain technology came out of necessity, and what this allows us to do is have a completely transparent, decentralized treasury for the world. Now, it's not based on some country, because a country, you know, national borders are illusory too. Those aren't real. We don't need to be going to war with any other countries because we aren't a country. You know, not at all. We're a world nation that, or an Earth nation, you know, and this Earth nation might even be bigger than the Turtle Island that we're aware of. So who knows? But we need to find out eventually. So that's why we're doing all this, you know. But we're also providing these solutions because then once people start realizing that not only are flat earthers, you know, believing the Earth is flat, doing the research and the expeditions, but also we're implementing alternative solutions, creating communities that are viable. And look at us, we're all happy in these communities because we're living free from these oppressive forces, amidst everyone else who is being oppressed constantly. And that alone is almost like a miracle. It's magic. You know, here we are. We could go get some land out in Topanga Canyon, which is just outside of Los Angeles. But you go out of the city of Los Angeles and you go into Topanga, and it's just beautiful, mountainous nature, views of the ocean, but still, it's just, you know, it's nature, but it's right off the city, okay? We can have a community out there, and we could be living a very fulfilling lifestyle. We can be extremely connected to the world through the internet and through all of these initiatives and activities we're doing. So we're sort of, it's like the whole adage of being in the world but not of it. And here we'll be living examples of that. And and people will take note to that. And that's why I'm really trying to do this stuff, along with put it out there through the reality show and through the documentary channels, because this needs to be shared and people need to see that we're doing this. And as people see that we're doing this, they're going to quickly like get over the immediate shock value of, well, there's people still in this world that believe the Earth is flat, and they're smart and creating amazing film and music, and they've created their own economy, and they're worldwide. You know, people will just like, people's brains will explode trying to comprehend what's going on here. And by that, that'll be like the ultimate C, where they're just like, now they're in it. Now they're going to be looking into this. Now they're watching the show. Now they want to be involved and they want to learn more. You know, it's just all these things combined, I think, are really going to snowball.
Yeah, which you'd really like right now with the Lumen project there.
Yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. Shooting for the moon.
We've been going for 3 hours.
All right. Yeah.
Aaron, I don't know if you want to, although you've been beautifully going on for 3 hours and explaining it all to us, I'm not sure how much longer you want to carry on talking, because people don't.
Yeah, we should definitely call it. I was hoping to do a shorter one, but such is life. But I definitely have a lot of work to do, especially if I'm going to meet this goal by Sunday. So unless, I mean, if someone has any questions, I guess we could.
Chatting in the chat room just about the project, and I've mentioned.
Aaron,
Oh, there you go. There's a question. You did.
Aaron, why don't you come with me to the beach with the guitar? Leave all this. Why do you need all this? Leave it. With
Go to
the
the beach?
guitar, yeah. You know, it's kind of joke. It's, you know, leave everything. Why do you need all this? It's very heavy. It's very tough. Why do you need all this? Saving the world, bring Mother Earth, heaven for the benefit of all. Leave all this. Come with a guitar. We sit in the beach.
Oh, we will.
It's not a
We will.
solution for you.
It is. It's a big solution.
Ah,
And you're right. You know, like it's
wow.
hard not to get too serious about all this and still
Wow.
enjoy life. That's probably my most guilty thing right now is I've just been working. I've been a workaholic and haven't been taking enough time for myself, and I will admit that. But I'm kind of in crunch time trying to get this going. Absolutely, I want to travel this beautiful flat Earth, and I want to meet you, Judith, and Karen, and I want to be going to these conferences and meeting all these people, and then I want to invite you guys to the whatever communities. I mean, we're gonna have communities all over the place, and I'll see to that. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be neighbors at some point, and we'll play guitar and sing along.
Yeah, I send you to the messenger 2 people who can help in this project, maybe. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring them all together. Let's do this.
Yes, yes, it's so exciting.
You're a busy. I know you're a really busy person, and you've spent a lot of time explaining it today. Just like you to know that we do have Mark Sargent on tomorrow night. If you did want to pop on for a little bit and say hello and project.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I'd love to. What time is that at?
We're going for 9-ish UK time, which is about the same time as tonight, really. Maybe just a tiny bit earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll put on my calendar. I would love to just say hey to Mark, and I've been wanting to talk to him about some of this, and yeah. So for sure, be there.
Brilliant. I was on Patricia Steer's show last night, and he got his gun out and he was zapping everybody.
I saw that. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for explaining it again. And of course we will ask you back because 2 weeks or whatever you can explain it again because people need to hear this. It needs to be repeated, doesn't it?
It does.
Repeated a bit, and I know that. So I know it takes quite a lot out of you to do this. No one quite understands that Aaron's been talking now for 3 hours. Hugs, Aaron.
You inspire, Aaron. You inspire everybody tonight. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
This is my aim to inspire.
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll, people. Let's do this.
Yes.
Well, we're going to see Aaron tomorrow night as well.
Yep. So.
Not letting you go, Aaron. Anyway, yeah, we're going to end the hangout right now. Aaron, say goodbye to us offline.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Judith. We're going to end this hangout right now.
Yeah.
Big flat earth hugs to everybody.
Yes.
See you tomorrow night with Mark Sargent. Anyway, big flat earth. Thank you, Aaron, for explaining that again to us.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
And namaste, Aaron.
Namaste.
I'll just come back to the panel because obviously we've had the camera on you all night. So if I stop presenting you just for a moment, everybody can see that. He's there. What did you say, Judith?
I didn't say nothing. Namaste.
Yeah. Anyway, good night from us, everybody, and thank you very much, Aaron. And see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Love you,
Thank you,
Aaron.
Judith, Aaron,
night.
and everybody in the chat room and everybody that watches this. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.